sick of watching video game trailers. I never thought I would say this, but for the last 4 days and then like 3 days before that, I've just been doing nothing but watching video game trailers because it's Summer Games Fest. And in spite of a kind of a tepid Games Fest, there's a lot here. So
that's the thing, is that Game Fest isn't the only thing that happened technically.
Yes,
we decided to encompass it all as one.
Yes,
because we can't just call it E3 anymore.
Yeah,
because E3 died.
I'm gonna call it E4.
E4, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because E3 died, and it was because everybody's like, why do we need to go there? We can just do whatever we want. And Summer Game Fest only had some of what they decided to show.
Yep.
And everyone else is like, I'm gonna go do my own thing with blackjack and hookers.
Pretty sure there's a Nintendo Direct next week. Yeah. So we didn't hear from Nintendo. We didn't hear from Sony. Sony had their weird state of play.
Yeah, very messed state of play.
Yeah.
And then which was such a strange. I don't know. It's strange because we're no longer have like one unified thing anymore. Yeah. And it's like we're back in the Wild West of pre E3 kind of, but not really. But like it's fascinating because but it's also a pain in the ass because like you said, we have so many trailers that came out that I got tired of watching a bunch of them about midway through, I think, like Saturday. Yep. And I was like, oh, my God.
So welcome back, everybody. This is the Summer Games Fest edition of the RageSelect podcast. Here on RageSelect, I'm Jeff.
And I'm Mike.
Okay, here's what we're doing, you guys. We're going to be going over these things. I got a spreadsheet full of trailers. Yeah. I got the trailers broken out. I got
the big guns.
I got ratings for the trailers. And, hey, if you're a Patreon member at patreon.com/RageSelect, I actually put a doctored version of the spreadsheet that we're using in there. You can actually follow along in the spreadsheet as we go down the individual conferences.
Unless we skip some.
Okay. Also, that's the other thing. I am going to name which conference we are going to do, but we are not doing them in the order that they came out because I want to talk about the fun stuff first. I want to come out of the gate and talk about the fun stuff and leave the bad stuff for later, a.k.a. Ubisoft.
You don't like Just Dance, Jeff?
A.k.a. Ubisoft, the PC gaming show, the Wholesome Games Direct, Future Games Fest, and a few others. So, so anyway, that's what we're going to do, and we're not going to talk about anything that we watched or anything, because all I've been watching is trailers. So
that's what we were doing.
It's going to be a long fucking podcast anyway. We've got 3 minutes worth of intro here. Great. Let's get into it. We're going to start with the Xbox Showcase. Microsoft, I feel like, was both. Oh, also, no commentary on like the hosts. There were no Muppets or musical numbers to speak of. There were a couple, but they were nothing to speak of.
It was mostly just the few host type things that happened in the actual conferences. Was that one woman? I don't even remember her name, but I remember everybody hated her. Yeah, where she's just like, "Here's the other Xboxes," and they showed off the series.
Oh, Sarah Bond.
They showed off the digital Series X. Yep. Which was nice looking, and the 2 terabyte Series X, which looked the same.
It was garbage. It was
a Galaxy, though. So it looked like somebody threw a bunch of glitter on it.
Stupid shit. We're going to get to that. Anyway, Microsoft, let's get into it. Microsoft, we started off with the Black Ops 6 gameplay reveal trailer.
In the far-off time of the 90s.
What's weird about this, though, is that, it is the 90s, but it doesn't, it feels like 80s still to me. I don't know.
That's the thing about the 90s is it had a lot of 80s DNA in it still.
Yeah.
A lot of people like to be like, this was this decade, and this was this decade. For some reason, the 90s and the 80s, kind of blend in together.
You got to get to, 1993 before it really starts to become the 90s.
Exactly.
More 94. But anyway, yeah, this is the new Call of Duty. It's taking place during the Gulf War. It is... but then it's a Black Ops game. So I remember I was reading an interview where they said that your team, you're a Spec Ops operator, and then your team gets burned by the CIA, and so you have to go rogue with that crazy Frank guy or whatever from the guy in the wheelchair from the original Black Ops, and then there's that Robert Redford looking motherfucker from Black Ops Cold War. He's in here.
Which everybody remembers Cold War. Or whatever.
I don't remember anything about any of the Cold Wars. The one thing about this trailer that's interesting, I don't know if you saw it, Michael. I don't know if you've gone through this shit frame by frame. There's a very brief moment where there's some shit in this trailer that makes it look like we're going to go back to the are you crazy? Are you a crazy person stuff?
Oh, yeah, no. There's definitely some of that. That was the thing. That was the only reason I thought Black Ops was the more interesting one.
Yeah.
Is they were willing to do weird shit in Black Ops. and then they just kind of stopped one day.
Well, Black Ops 1 had some weird shit. Black Ops 2 definitely was interesting.
Yeah.
Then Black Ops 3 was like, you're a fucking wizard, Harry. You're a nano wizard. And then Black Ops 4 was Overwatch. And then Black Ops 5 was the 80s. And now we're at Black Ops 6. And that's fucking the 90s, I guess, or whatever.
Very strange.
I'm not seeing any hypercolor shirts. I'm not seeing any slap bracelets. I'm not seeing any like orange neon. This does not seem like the 90s to me. I haven't heard the band Garbage. I haven't seen anybody with a Green Day t-shirt on. No Jinkos at all.
There needs to be some grunge. That's all that comes down to. Yeah, that's the thing about the 90s. It's like, it's hard to show things that are the 90s that don't still feel like the 80s.
Yeah.
It's so, I don't know. It's interesting that way.
I can honestly say that, like, I mean, this was expected because they bought Activision.
Yes.
But like, this is what do you call it? Duty fans call yourselves? Are you like the duty heads? Is that what you talk yourself?
The Katos
duty heads on Reddit.
Codics,
like Codics. Sure.
Yeah.
The Bobbies.
The Bobby Codics.
Like, I can honestly say that if you were to show anybody but, like, maybe me or you, like, this trailer, and then the trailer for the last game, and the trailer for the game before that, they'd be like, this is all the same video game, right? And they'd be like, no.
Yeah, but kind of no.
Like, it just looks like more Call of Duty. Like, maybe there's a thing where they show more stuff, but at this point, they've branched out into having, like, kind of story-ish missions where you get to walk around and you're not shooting people, which I kind of find uninteresting after a while.
People didn't like that, as it turns out.
And then there's like branching pathways, or pick the next mission off this board, and it's like, well, I guess. So I don't know. I wonder if this is going to be popular, because I feel like Call of Duty's been slipping a little bit recently.
No, they have been. I know the developers were talking about this game in a way. They're like, you remember all your favorite Call of Duty missions? We want this game to be like just full of those.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting there going like, I don't know what that means though, because some people don't have. A lot of people's favorite Call of Duty missions are just Call of Duty 4.
Right.
And that's kind of it.
Right. And nothing since then.
And nothing else. So it's like, okay, did you just want to make Call of Duty 4 again? Because you already did that.
Was there a part in Call of Duty Black Ops 2 where you played as Fidel Castro and went into like a super rage and then like started tearing people apart with your bare hands? I remember that.
Yeah. I also remember the horse riding sequence, I think, in Black Ops 2.
Yeah.
But there, I don't know, like,
it looks
the problem
fine.
with Call of Duty, like you said, is that if you looked at the trailers for all the other games, you're like, these are all the same game.
Right.
But that's because we have hit the point of graphics where there's only so much you can do to make it look different from the last game.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of where we're at now.
Right. It's like if I took the trailer for John Wick 3 and spliced the action scenes into the trailer for John Wick 1 and showed it to somebody else, they wouldn't be like, hey, wait a minute, these are like two different movies that you're showing me. It would just be like, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So
that's because Keanu Reeves has looked the same for a very long time.
Anyway, it's gonna be on Game Pass, whatever. Doom, The Dark Ages is doing okay, I'm very conflicted about this one, Michael.
Okay.
Because the further I get away from Doom Eternal, the less I enjoyed it. Like, I really liked Doom 2016, and Doom Eternal, it felt like it was like every enemy was a lock, and then every weapon was a specific key. You had to use this specific weapon on this specific enemy, or else it didn't do any damage, and you were just kind of out of luck. So it was more like a puzzle game to me, and I just didn't like it as much. Now, I saw an interview, or I read that apparently the dev for this game has said that, like, this is going to be closer to the Doom 2016 combat than it is to Doom Eternal. Like, it's going to be more about, like, just kind of brutal kills. I like so this is a prequel. I'm sorry, I'm assuming everybody listens to every podcast, but like, this is a prequel. This got leaked ahead of time. This is a prequel, but only in as much as, like, there's a lot more just like regular castles and a lot fewer like cyber castles.
It's supposed to be, as far as I know, it's supposed to be the before 2016.
Yes.
Although there's some conflicting stuff that people are like, maybe it takes place before Eternal, but I don't see how.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have very conflicting things about it, because it's like, we've seen the end of the story, like, and I feel like you should have done this before doing Eternal, if that makes sense.
I don't know. There's a very big parallel. This is just like the video game doing the prequel thing where you're like, oh man.
Yeah, it's fine, I guess. Like the thing about Doom is that Doom is the weirdest timeline I've seen in a game in quite some time.
Yeah.
Because people are still arguing about what the timeline for Doom is.
Yeah.
But it's very obvious at this point what it is. But now we have this jammed in the middle of it, so I don't know. Whole thing's strange.
As far as the trailer goes, I mean, like, I'll be honest. I don't want to shirk my hosting duties for RageSelect, but like it looks a lot like Doom, but with like less lights, like less neon lights. Like, yes. It looks a lot like Doom Eternal, but like it's just in castles, because this whole thing is supposed to be, it's like, oh, it's in the past, but you still have a shotgun, and you still have the Doomslayer armor, and you still have like what looks like very similar enemies. So, there's a weapon that grinds up a skull and shoots the bits like a shotgun out of it. And it doesn't have very many green lights on it.
No,
but other than that, it looks like something I would have had in every other Doom game. I like the shield. Like, I like that there's defense that is not just dashing.
Also, the cape is pretty cool.
The cape is pretty cool.
The fur cape or what is.
I mean, I don't know. You don't see your character model that much in Doom, but
yeah, but I just think it's kind of neat that he actually has it.
I don't know. It looks like a lot more Doom to me. I maybe need to see some more to tell. I need an explanation. I need somebody to explain to me how this is very, very different than either Doom Eternal or Doom 2016, because this is just like a montage of kicking a bunch of ass, and it's like, well, yeah, you do kick a lot of ass in this game, but like, if you told me this was an expansion for Doom Eternal, I would believe you.
Oh no, I absolutely. That's the thing. It is closer to the way Doom 2016 was, because there's never once like a shoulder cannon that he uses
right
in the entire thing.
There are some colored flashes on enemies though that give you a little bit of like,
yeah, I can see that. But there's a lot of stuff that's like payoffs to things that were hinted at.
Yeah,
like the giant mech stuff
and
the flying things,
cyber dragon,
and also that for some reason everybody has a super shotgun out there.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm always very twitchy about Doom. I said for years that Doom 2016 looked like garbage every time it got shown at a conference, and then it came out and it was like, oh, this is my favorite game of all time.
And then Doom Eternal was the opposite. You're like, this looks amazing.
Right, and then I got it, I was like, I don't know.
I never finished its DLC because I was like, man, this is just a pain in my ass.
It's not a bad game. No. I don't want to come off like it's a bad game. It was just too much for me.
It's just not a fun time, if that makes sense.
It got to a level of challenge that started to go up into the for me, into more of like the Meat Boy category and less of the Dark Souls category.
It got more annoying than it was fun, where 2016 is the opposite, where it was just so much fun, and I never had that many issues with it.
So I don't know. They're probably not going to get Mick Gordon back after all the bullshit.
That is the other thing that disappoints me, is that there's no way they could get Mick Gordon unless they kill Mick Gordon and reanimate him to make that, because he hates them with the passion now.
Yeah.
And I can't blame him in any shape or form.
Neither can I. Speaking of stuff that I hate with fiery passion, we got the State of Decay 3 cinematic trailer. I don't understand who's buying this franchise or why it's exciting. I've tried playing it like 6 times, and
well, the trailer makes it seem like it'd be a cool game, and I was like, what is this? This seems like it could be cool.
Yeah. And
then it's like, oh, by the way, this is State of Decay, and I'm like, oh, I don't give a fuck now.
Yeah.
Because it makes this like really interesting.
Turn that thing a little bit. Turn that microphone just a little bit towards you. It seems like it's sorry, I do this midstream, everybody.
What was I saying?
You're saying it seems interesting.
Oh yes,
it seems like something interesting.
It seems like an interesting like it seems like I was expecting it to be some Left 4 Dead type shit,
right?
Where it's like, oh, you have multiple people doing things, and then stuff happens, and then it's just like, no, it's just State of Decay.
Yeah,
it's like, okay. Like there's all these cool story ideas in here.
Yeah.
But you're like, State of Decay, there's not really anything that's worth it at that point.
It's also a cinematic trailer, so and I don't believe the game's going to look anywhere near this good.
No.
Like, it's going to look like a mid-tier, like their engine they've always used for State of Decay is a lot less good looking than this. So
also that guy is just meleeing everything, and I honestly don't think why he expected he was going to survive.
Yeah. So I don't know. Show me something different. I'm not a decayer. I'm not a decay head. I'm not a
are you just trying to come up with fan names of all the games?
Decayzian. Yeah, I don't know. This doesn't do anything for me. I don't know. They keep trying out State of Decay every couple of years, and I'm just like, I don't give a shit. We're not going to talk too much about this because we got a much bigger trailer later, but we saw our first glimpse of Dragon Age: The Veilguard. This was like a very cinematic trailer. I do believe this is in the game engine, but
yeah, this is we're getting a band together type. It's like the Ocean's 11 montage, kind of thing of like, who are we gonna get, and then they just show off a bunch of people,
showing all the different characters. Yeah, I think we're gonna come back to this. Oh no, this is definitely not in the in-game engine.
I've seen still Brad Pitt somehow. I don't know why.
I've seen what the in-game engine looks like. Apparently, people are real thirsty for Emmerich the Necromancer, the old man. There's people online that are just like, oh man, I want to fuck that old man.
He looks like fucking what's his name? Not Doctor Strange, the guy who
Vincent Price.
Vincent Price.
Looks
He's got a Vincent Price look.
He really does.
And everybody wants to fuck Vincent Price.
Yeah.
So.
I do think that this trailer is kind of ridiculous because you've got Varric and what's the lady, and they're in the bar and they're like, we're going to need to put a team together. And then they have this montage of all the different people. They're like, but who are we going to have lead us? And then they like, the camera goes over to, because they can't have a specific character, just a person in a hood beating people up in a bar.
Yeah.
And they're like, what about that guy over there?
What about that psychopath over there who hasn't said a word and has just been murdering people?
It just seems like he's just beating people up over the other side of the bar. This is where we could find the leader to help us save the world.
I think it's a great idea.
Anyway, we're going to come back to...
is they can murder like 10 people at a time.
Why don't they just do the thing like they did with Mass Effect and just pick like an avatar?
A default avatar?
Yeah, for trailers in the front of the box and stuff like that.
Because then they can't actually, I have no idea. I don't know. One day they just stopped doing that. Like, I feel like that used to be the thing. Like, the default avatar was the ad.
Yeah.
And then they just stopped doing that one day, and I just don't know why.
I don't either. We got an ad for Starfield Shattered Space, the big expansion that's coming out later this year. This is some Dead Space. It's very like horror themed.
I watched this trailer and I'm like, this game looks like a good, interesting game. And then I saw the ship and I'm like, oh, this is a Starfield expansion.
Yeah,
and immediately lost all my interest.
Well, but here, Michael, I don't know if you realize, but this week on Steam they put out the creator kit for it, so people can start fucking fixing the game.
That's true.
Yeah, I don't know. I have decided, like, okay, there's nothing wrong with this trailer. It looks like more Starfield. Starfield didn't glom with me. I have decided I am treating Starfield like Cyberpunk. I will try it out again. Once they say we are done, this is our final product, here is the full thing, but I'm not going to keep going back to it in the hopes that it's good. I want to evaluate what it's like when Bethesda says it is done, like not before that. So if that takes 3 years, then I'll go back in 3 years. But I have a feeling that this is going to be like Cyberpunk, where there are incremental upgrades and expansions and things, and once all that's in the game, who knows? It could be good, or it could still kind of stink.
Honestly, nowadays, and not even just nowadays, but for Bethesda in general, for any of their games that are like this, that should just be what your thought process is for most of the time.
Yeah,
and I mean that to the general audience. Like we have to play them, or not have to. We play them because we want to see what the big hubbubaloo is.
Yeah,
and then to see, is this the game everybody says it is? But a lot of times, like you said, with Cyberpunk 77, and there wasn't the game everybody said it was until way later on. And even the same with stuff like No Man's Sky and all types of things. So, but with Bethesda, boy howdy, you gotta wait for a while.
The shit is, it's already been updated a whole bunch to fix some of the stuff that was a pain in the ass on launch. So like I get the feeling, I think for sure that you can make the I think you could say Microsoft shoved this game out the door before it was done because it had been in development for like 10 years and they needed something for the Xbox, and it wasn't done. It was half-baked, like Cyberpunk 2077, like a lot of No Man's Sky or any of those other games that we talk about, and that it's going to take time for them to make it into an actual game.
Yeah.
You can totally play it if you want to, and I mean, hey, you can download all the mods you want to try to fix it and blah, 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 blah. I personally am just going to wait until they say it's done, and then I'm going to play it with all the best mods installed like I did with Fallout New Vegas. So I'm going to wait. I'm not going to do this shit until it's done.
Like they even came out with a free update with a bunch of stuff in it.
Yep.
As well as apparently a mission that costs you $7. But that's, that's a whole other story.
It's getting downvoted to hell on Steam right
it's getting
now.
Real bad, yeah.
Speaking of dumbass Bethesda stuff, Fallout 76 is getting an expansion. This is one that we're not going to talk too much about because it's called Skyline Valley. It looks an awful lot like just more fucking Fallout. Like it just more places.
Yeah.
The one thing that I think was kind of interesting is they said in 2025 they're going to add ghouls as a playable race, basically, and I am certain that is because of the TV show.
Well, because they nuked Phil Spencer. Now you need a ghoul Phil Spencer,
sure,
to talk to.
Yeah. So, but yeah, not much else in here outside of that. They did a little skit. It was fine. From there, we got Claire Obscure Expedition 33. I was really leery when this started.
I was too, and then something happened. Something magical happened.
Yes,
in the middle of the trailer that went, "Oh, you now have my interest."
So the idea here is that there's this ethereal painter that paints like a number on like a rock in the distance, and that number of people die.
No, it's whoever is that age.
Oh, where's that age?
So basically, I'm assuming it started at like 100, and nobody had any issues with it.
Oh,
but it kept going, and now all the trailers and then they put the year 34, and everyone who's 34 and above just disappears.
Oh, okay. And so you're basically, hey, look, an actual story reason for the young people to have to go on an adventure.
Yeah.
So the whole thing is that then, and it's kind of this weird, like, I don't know what you would call this. It's not steampunk, but it's like old timey, but then everybody's wearing kind of semi-futuristic looking clothes.
There is a term for it, but I don't remember the name of it anymore.
Final Fantasy VII. It's
kind of. Well, you got the trailers narrated by Final Fantasy 16's Clive.
Oh, there you go.
Or Ben Starr, and he's great. I love him so much.
So they decide, well, we're gonna go kill that bitch. We're gonna go, but no more people getting killed. We're gonna make an expedition, go kill that bitch. And at first I looked at this and I was like, is this gonna be like an online shooter or something?
I thought it was gonna be like an MMO or some shit.
Right.
I was like, because I've always had issues with that.
And then they show the combat, and it's a turn-based RPG. What the hell?
And it's not a JRPG looking one.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, this is some interesting shit going on here.
It looks like a Spiders game, if it was a turn-based game, like a European turn-based RPG.
And it's got some Mario RPG shit where like you have to do things in the middle of the fight for timing and stuff, and I'm like, that's really fucking cool.
It also has some Souls ass looking big ass bosses, and I like the way the camera swings around to like show stuff happening.
Very dynamic fights.
Yeah,
and I'm like, this has all of my interest now.
Yeah,
I had zero interest originally, but I'm like, I'm all on board for whatever this shit is.
Never heard of it before. Today, great.
Yeah,
fully on board, coming in 2025. Yeah,
we'll be on Game Pass. So you don't have to spend the monies.
From there, we got South of Midnight, which was announced, I think, last year.
Yeah, I think it was last year.
With the kind of stop animated with the big guy playing the guitar in the swamp, and then the little protagonist lady. This very kind of like 20 frames per second, kind of herky-jerky, almost like stop animated looking filter on it. And so it's got the main protagonist, and she's riding this like catfish. It looks like it's made out of blankets or something.
It's a very mystical catfish.
And they talk about like there's a giant alligator, and so she has to go to a church to do it. But the one thing that we see here that we didn't see last time is we actually see gameplay.
Yes.
It looks like it's a third-person action game. Now, here's the thing, Michael. Was it disappointing that the gameplay is not herkier, that the animation is not like 20 frames per second in the, like, that they don't drop the same animation frames in the like the animation looks a lot smoother than the cutscenes.
Well, no, it does here. There's still definitely some animation things on her that specifically.
Okay,
like you can see it when she's doing her little jog, and especially when she stopped right there.
Yeah,
like but then like it gets a little smoother as she moves faster.
It's kind of hard to tell whether it's like YouTube compression or like.
Well, no, it's very much there.
Yeah,
it's just not as like pronounced when it's not in a cutscene.
Okay,
and I think that's to not like make people woozy during like action sequences.
Okay,
I think is really what it comes down to, because there's like you can still see like the moments where there's some herky jerky here and there. It's like the way when you watch Spider-Verse kind of thing, where like Miles is animated at a different frame rate than the spiders are, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what's going on here. It's just not as prominent when you're playing the game itself.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Yeah, because look, with that little thing she did right there, like you can tell the little turkey jerky parts
Okay, a little bit, yeah.
It's
I
just
think I
not
wish
as
it was a little bit
pronounced.
more pronounced.
Yeah, it's just not as pronounced, but I think that's purely to not fuck with your mind as you're playing the
yeah.
game.
Oh, I don't know. It's hard to be like, oh, we're gonna lower the frame rate on our animation, something that every gamer hates with a passion.
Yeah. And you can see it sometimes a little bit with the birds there as well. Like it's there, it's just not. It's only more pronounced once the animation itself starts.
Yeah.
Or not the animation, the cutscene starts.
Or like when you're zoomed up on somebody's face.
And I have no issues with that, to be honest, because like I said, some people I know lose their shit if their thing isn't going 60 frames per second at all times.
Ooh, 120 frames per second.
Yeah.
240 frames per second sometimes. Yeah, this looks good. It looks like a third-person kind of action adventure.
Yeah.
There's some combat. There's some platforming. There's some magical, mystical powers. I kind of like the whole, Louisiana swamp vibe of it. Like, it's different and interesting in a way that a lot of, it's unique. And that's what I'm a sucker for.
Yeah,
so.
the designs are great. Like the giant crocodiles or alligators design.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like lore as to why its mouth is all fucked up too, which I thought was really cool.
Yep.
I'm like, man, this world is really interesting.
Yeah, it seems like a real big passion project in a real rich world. I definitely want to check this one out.
Yeah.
And it's coming out next year. Let's see. From there, I put a I don't know on this one. They announced a new expansion for World of Warcraft called World of Warcraft: The War Within. The trailer for this, Michael, is mostly snippets from previous trailers.
Yeah.
Put together.
It's to be like, hey, remember all these other games?
Yeah.
Like I do, I guess.
And I'll be honest, they didn't show enough for me to be able to figure out what the new thing was, and I don't care enough to look it up because it's World of Warcraft, and I don't play that. A lot of people are disappointed that this wasn't on consoles. That seems like the main takeaway for me was, hey, if you were going to put World of Warcraft in the Xbox conference, can you put it out on the Xbox, please?
Yeah, why is that a thing? That doesn't make any sense.
So, yeah. But I don't know.
Let's put that on the PC gaming show, guys.
There's going to be a World of Warcraft expansion. I'm not going to talk anymore about that because we got other stuff to get to. We got too many things. Let's see. Here's our next bit. Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater.
I like it.
Yeah.
There's not much else I can say outside of that. I love Metal Gear Solid 3.
Yeah.
We've talked at length about that. And you mentioned, I think, on one of the other podcasts, it's like we have played Metal Gear Solid 3 probably between the two of us enough for like the entire Discord.
Double digits,
probably.
At least double digits.
Yeah, at least double digits for Metal Gear Solid 3. And here's the fun fact. I'm just going to do it again.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they've talked at length about the different things it's going to go, that they've luckily set up a mode. They've luckily set up some legacy stuff, so you can play the game as the way Metal Gear Solid 3 was originally camera, like where the angles were.
Oh, the fixed camera.
And then there's the way they play it, where they updated Metal Gear Solid 3 to have the control of the camera,
the behind the back camera.
And apparently, there's a filter that they're going to add to that might try to make it look even the same as the before. Is what they said, but I don't know.
There's a little bit of the style seems. Is okay. It's weird to me. I paused it here because I want to point out this one thing. No. It's weird to me because this is one of those things. It's like when I talk about Dune. I have a hard time with Metal Gear Solid 3. That game is burned into my brain in a way that not many other video games are. It's in the top 5 of games that I have replayed the most times in my life. I know everything. Like I was watching the scene where he's walking up to the edge of the plane to jump off, and I'm like, the fabric on his jumpsuit is not wiggling as fast as it does in the original one, or like the way that his hair is just slightly different, and I'm like,
it's the uncanny valley that we're gonna have to run into.
Yeah,
that happens every time they make one of these remakes.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like, I don't know, it like Yes, it looks good. There's nothing wrong with it.
No,
there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. I have my own bullshit. I'm really happy they keep showing these sequences. I identified every one of these sequences. They all look exactly the same as they did in the other one. Like that scene where he grabs the Ocelot soldier and he's aiming over his head. I remember that. Like when he grabs the guy with the machine gun, and he puts it up in the air. I remember that. Like I remember shooting the hinds down in that area in the mountain. The face seems a slightly off to me, but again, these are my problems.
No, these are just your brain being like, this isn't what I remember.
You can't have my problems.
Yeah. And I have some of those issues too, and some of them come down to the fact that they're very... The thing about Kojima games is there's very specific stylistic choices that he makes that aren't present in the game, specifically the filter of the jungle, where it's just bright yellow, or that sort of, people call it the piss filter back in the day. But also the fact that, you know, like, it's not as dark inside of the plane, so which what makes when it opens like that much more.
Oh, the big lens flare that comes through. It's
this really cool moment. Like you said, his suit isn't like losing its shit in the wind to show how intense the wind is, but you're just like, well, I can still play Metal Gear Solid 3, so it's not that much of an issue for me.
It's not. It's 100% not.
And it's clear that this remake it's not doing much changes to even its gameplay, because Metal Gear Solid 3 already plays like a goddamn dream for the most part.
Yeah.
I think the only things they changed are things that I had issues even with Metal Gear Solid 3, which was the holding down your button.
A little bit,
just a little bit.
The adaptive, the analog triggers.
I just kept killing everyone I tried interrogating, because I didn't know that for years.
Yeah,
because I didn't read the manual. I didn't bother with it, which I should have. But I was like, why am I slitting everybody's throat? Why is this river so full of dead people?
Yeah, the other thing I think is for this particular trailer, I've watched the trailers for Metal Gear Solid 3 so many times, and the way that those trailers were set up with their soundtracks were just like so exciting, and this was like not, but I'm comparing it to like this thing that I burned into my brain as like a 20-year-old. So
you think they'll use the same stock footage for the back?
Oh God, I don't know.
The political shit.
I don't know.
That'll be interesting, because you remember how they had to re-up that.
Yep.
I wonder if they were like, what if we found different ones?
Yeah. Let's see. From there, Sea of Thieves is getting a new event. You're going to be able to be a villain. I don't know. I don't care. It's not a big deal.
It's almost like the trolls were already doing that, and this means nothing.
Yeah. Also, we're going to skip. They had a trailer for Flintlock. We've seen so much of Flintlock. There's no reason to talk about it.
Every fucking conference.
There was no reason to talk about it. It was at everything. There's no reason. There were so many trailers before this for Flintlock that, like, go look at the Flintlock trailers if you want. We're not going to talk about it. Let's see. After that, we got... I hear a lot of people are very confused about what this is. Age of Mythology Retold. Like, it seems to be a ground-up remake of the first Age of Mythology.
That's what I got from it.
That's what I got too, but then I looked online and people seemed a little confused because they haven't specifically said.
That's fair, to be honest.
Although I think that if this was a sequel, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look very good. It looks like a remake of an old game, not a modern, not Age of Mythology 12 or whatever.
And I'm sure the 12 people who care will be very excited.
Yes.
I'm not fucking with you guys. I'm sure there's dozens of you.
Age of Mythology was never my jam. I know a lot of people like it. I mean, it's like, here's the spinoff of Age of Empires. It's like, well, I didn't care about that either.
Yeah, exactly. I don't give a shit about any of this.
Go search RageSelect. How many Age of Empires remakes and sequels have they put out over the last 5 years? How many of them have we ever done a video for?
Exactly.
0. Anyway, I don't know. It looks good as a remake. If this is supposed to be a full blown sequel, it doesn't look very good, but it's fine. Let's see. From there. How much time do we have left here? Oh, okay. We're about halfway.
We're doing the longer version.
Perfect Dark. We finally... This was actually This was big. This was one of my favorite things I saw. We heard about this like 2-3 years ago.
It was
like
a long time ago.
It was a while back. This Perfect Dark like remake,
and they had to switch developers after a while. Apparently, that was the last we heard of it.
Yeah,
because it was not doing well with whoever was making it before.
So yeah, we have Joanna Dark is in this like kind of futuristic city, and we see a little bit of
back and in POG form.
A gameplay segment I like of like walking around, scanning stuff, doing some detective stuff. There's like a sequence where she has to record like a cop's voice in order to open a door. I like the way that what I really like about this is when she's doing it, I love that this meter around the reticle in the middle looks like it's right out of the old Perfect Dark UI.
Yeah. There's a lot of fun stuff going on in this trailer.
Yes.
And it made me really happy because I'm like, man, Perfect Dark was such an interesting game that I would play at my cousins because I didn't own a 64 growing up. And then I ended up playing, I played the 360 one. when they made the
the sequel
Dark Zero.
Yeah,
and I was like, this is fine.
A prequel.
But like, yeah, people really like Perfect Dark is an IP that I'm always surprised didn't get that far.
Yeah,
and I'm hoping this lets it. I'm hoping this makes her more of a household name again.
Well, because I mean, let's be honest here. Like the gameplay for this, it looks like an immersive sim, right?
Yeah.
Like it looks like
got some Mirror's Edge to it.
Yeah, you're doing some parkour, you're doing some stealth, you're sneaking around, you're using gadgets, and then at the end there's kind of a big gunfight, but that looks like the gunfights had like a lot of gadgets involved. And that's cool. Also, knowing a little bit about the story of Perfect Dark, I can kind of see what they're setting up, and I'm like,
okay.
Seems like it could be really interesting. I think all the graphics and everything look really nice. All of the UI and
it's a very gorgeous looking game.
Yeah, this was one of the ones that I was most excited for because this is the sort of game that I'm all about, and yeah, I can't wait to play it. Like I couldn't say much more good stuff if I tried.
It's what Microsoft should be doing with IPs that they've had this whole fucking time.
Yeah.
Like, just bring them back and like make them look awesome like this.
Well, you know, Michael, Rare's busy making season 25 of Sea of Thieves, apparently.
Yeah, that's true.
So
before that, all they made were Connect games.
Yeah. No, it really reminds me of like what Deus Ex Human Revolution or
but in a good way.
Yeah, some of the other stuff. It looks great. Like everything about this screams yes. As long as this comes out and it doesn't just completely shit itself, probably going to be one of my favorite games.
It's got a really good chance of being of helping the Xbox more than anything.
Yes, absolutely. Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred release date trailer. I don't know who this is. I don't know what this shard is. I don't know. This is a really gory
it was a really intense trailer. I was very surprised how insane it was.
Of this lady freaking out, and then there's like she's all it's like she got killed by a Freddy Krueger if he had no sense of humor kind of thing. She's like integrated into this giant meat monster, and her arms are coming apart. She's all fucking Hellraisered and shit.
It's really fucked up.
It's really gory and violent, and I'm like, I guess if that's what you're into. But the thing is, I asked in the Discord, I was like, does this make sense if you played Diablo 4? And they're like, oh yeah, no, this is big if you played Diablo 4. And I'm just like, okay, well I didn't, so I don't know what this is. And they didn't show. All they showed was a cutscene. They didn't show the game or anything, like, so
yeah, like I'm sure if you cared about Diablo, this is like a great idea, but the issues that Diablo has poisoned or not the Diablo, because that makes it seem like it's the game's fault. The developers have poisoned the well immensely.
Yeah.
So and I don't even know anybody who even cares about Diablo anymore.
I think some people are going back to it. Some people liked it to begin with. I didn't care for it. I thought that the idea that when they took away the randomization of the levels and they had the overworld, I was just like, I'm out. Like that was what I liked this game for, and I don't like this anymore. So
just fair.
We saw more from Fable. This is another one we're going to go through quick because they didn't show any actual gameplay. This was more.
Well, they showed like what could be gameplay, but we're not sure. It's one of those types of trailers, like because those trailers come up every now and then where there's an action that happens throughout it. You're like, is that a gameplay piece? Is that no? I can't really tell.
I'm not going to believe it until you show it to me.
Yeah.
Specifically with like gameplay on the
there's
bottom.
a part where this little girl walking around.
Yeah.
And then there's an attack she does that looks like an execution almost.
Yeah.
But then this happens like right here. You're like, that's not a gameplay sequence.
I don't think it is. Well, the thing is, it doesn't.
Right here, is this a gameplay? I don't know. I can't tell.
Well, it also doesn't matter because we can't glean anything, even if those are gameplay moments. We can't glean anything about how this game plays from those moments.
I did appreciate that it seems a hint at what the story might most likely be.
Yeah,
which is the idea that like their original hero, I already forgot his name, but like had like helped raise somebody from like essentially the ground up to be a hero, and they made some not so great decisions.
Yeah,
and they might be coming back to fuck his shit up.
Oh, is that what they're talking about? That's the other thing is I'm very out of the loop on Fable.
Well, every story is a different story. It's just like the idea is that he's just an old hero that's just like, I once raised somebody and she made bad decisions, and and you think he's talking about you or whatever the player character is,
right? But
it's revealed at the end that it's like no, it's like it's some person and they're back, and now they have to deal with her.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. You got to give me more than the flavor stuff. Like this whole year, I'm tired. Like cinematic trailers are fine and everything, but like you had your cinematic trailer last year. Now I need to see the gameplay trailer.
What cracks me up about these trailers though, they use like the Office way of like filming things. You're like, why is this your trailer for this?
It made sense last year with the what was it, Richard
Ayoade,
Ayoade, whatever. It made sense last year. This one, it makes a little bit less sense.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, whatever this is, like this last person they show is clearly like.
Anyway, I'm gonna reserve judgment on this one until I see more because I can't evaluate just based on.
But I'm glad that we're getting Fable back too.
Yeah. Fragpunk is uninteresting as a 4v4 like online thing. You use cards to change up the match.
I saw it and I was like, I've never seen such a blatant team hero shooter trailer than I've ever seen than this one, because the other ones can trick you into be like, maybe it's an actual game,
right?
This was like, no, this is just a team shooter, and like and it's clear that you're like cards, so you can monetize the fuck out of it,
right?
And I'm like, oh, I super not interested immediately.
So yeah, the whole point of this one is that you have a deck of cards that you can then use to alter things inside of the match. Like you can make the other team have big head mode turned on, so headshots are easier. You can make like, you know, I don't know. It's 5v5. It's coming 2025. I'm so bored with this genre. Yeah, like, 100%. I don't care.
Like, I like the fact that they're trying to do something different, but also know that you're trying to monetize it with that.
Yeah, like at the end, spoiler alert, at the end of the PC gaming show, they did Valorant for like 10 minutes, and I was just like, guys, nobody, and it's not just me, lots of people don't care about Valorant.
No. A lot of the hero shooters are not doing well because nobody cares about them.
This is the one with the mouse, Winterboro. You play as a little mouse, and you got to build your house back up. It's abandoned. I don't have anything to say about
this.
It's
just a little
cozy
mouse game.
Yeah,
it's a survival mouse game.
Let's see. Mixtape is another one that I am interested in. This one does feel like a 90s thing.
Yes, this one actually gets the idea that, hey, this is the 90s very, very well.
Even though at the end they're like, oh, it's the mixtape of a generation, and it's like a bunch of 80s bands. It's like Tears for Fears and like well, that's not a 90s band.
Well, that's the thing I was saying, where like the 90s was full of people like really still being into 80s stuff at the same time.
But yeah, this is like something where I think you have like the ability to make a mixtape that changes reality, and it's kind of this adventure thing. It's made by those people that made the Artful Dodger, which was about the guy that gets taken to space to become a rock and roll super legend. And this is very much like feels along those lines. I love the way that they're very specifically using the kind of herky-jerky animation in there.
It's a coming of age story, and honestly, like if it was just like this as a movie, I probably would have just watched it.
Yep. But I really want to play it. I liked Artful. Was it it wasn't Artful Dodger. It was
I don't remember the actual name.
Artful Escape. That was the name of it. Artful Escape. I love the character designs. Like, I love the character designs. I like the soundtrack. I like everything. I like the writing. The quippiness in the trailer was great. This very much does remind me of the 90s, and I want more of it. So
it's just it's funny when somebody tries to make something in the 90s, because it's hard. It's really hard to get that time frame down for some reason. For people, I don't know why.
Yeah.
Like I've only seen a handful of them do it correctly, and one of them was Jonah Hill's mid 90s, and that's kind of how this felt.
What was the thing where they're skateboarding at the beginning, and like this giant pink skateboard? I'm like, I had that giant pink skateboard.
No, my cousin had one. I know many people who had one. That's just what they was. That was as the style was at the time.
Yeah, everybody looks great in this. I really want to play this super bad. 100% on board. Great. Let's see. Flight Simulator has an update.
Cool, I guess.
Yeah, you can do a bunch of stuff. You can like fly you can do Red Bull Air Race, or fly a commercial flight, or like deliver supplies.
Careful with the plane you pick there; it might explode in midair.
Do an air ambulance. I mean, like, you could. Well, they're like, yes, you could pull the skywriting thing behind the airplane. I'm like, okay, cool. I mean,
Can you at least write what it says? Because I know people are going to do some real stupid shit with it.
I mean, I would assume so. There's a lot more people, is what I'll say, in this trailer than I remember seeing in Flight Simulator before. A lot more like people walking up to and getting into airplanes. But this is mostly just more Flight Simulator, and Flight Simulator also, for what it is amazing. If that's what you're into. If you're into Flight Simulator, you're one of those people, chances are you're already playing it and you're super excited. This was your best thing you ever did. Michael and I couldn't find the fucking Mount Rushmore to save our lives.
We tried. Desperately.
It was terrible. It was a horrible failure. The end. Done. Ooh. Man, okay. We're gonna get to the good stuff. Elder Scrolls has an expansion, whatever, or this wasn't even this was an expansion.
This was just hey, we've been around for like 10 years or something like that.
Elder Scrolls has been around for 10 years. Go play it. There's a new Life is Strange. Life is Strange Double Exposure. And
this is a direct sequel.
Yeah, the lady from the original is back. I forget what her name is.
Max Caulfield?
Yes.
I think is her name.
That is it. This is being made by Deck 9, who made the last one. I hope they got their shit together after all that crap that happened with them.
You should get Grant again.
After like 10 years, it's like that's the bookends for RageSelect as Life is Strange. So she's the hook for this one is that there are two timelines, one where her best friend died and the other one where she didn't, and she's got to like go
Nobody
back
should
and
be
forth.
Max's friend. They keep dying.
She's got to go back and forth between the two different timelines, trying to figure out what happened.
Yes,
and save her friend. I've never actually completed a Life is Strange game, so I don't know if that's a good idea or a bad idea.
Well, the fun thing about this being a direct sequel is now every lesbian has to come to terms that the ending of the original one probably involves Chloe dying.
Oh, okay. All right.
So good luck with that, guys.
I don't even know what that means. It looks a lot like the last one, like True Colors, but a little better. Like it looks like a similar art style and the way that they put the lighting and everything on the kind of simplistic character models. It looks nice. It
looks really good, to be honest.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe this will be the one that gets me to actually play one of these games.
Doubt.
Indiana Jones and the Great Circle.
I'm very excited for this, though.
I'm very excited for this game, but this trailer was like 90% cutscene.
It was.
Like,
it was definitely like a cutscene that takes place before a gameplay sequence is going to happen.
Yeah,
because it ends in the moment that you're like, and then now the game starts kind of thing.
Yeah. So they have some very brief like montage sections that show a little bit of like gameplay here and there, but to be honest, it's mostly just this one kind of big cutscene of Indy and lady like finding.
I forgot her name already. Yeah,
finding this frozen boat in the mountains and then finding this like what do they call it? It's like the piece.
It's a stone.
The stone.
They just keep calling it the stone.
Give me the stone. And then the Nazis show up and then you got to give them the stone. And then there's a bunch of like, oh, what are we doing? Oh, whoa. Those things are happening. And
it's all like a classic indie scene, to be honest. Like,
yeah.
And I mean Indiana Jones scene, not like, indie.
I stick to it. I've never played a Machine Games game that I don't like. It looks like they pulled the Nazi models directly out of Wolfenstein.
They kind of did,
and put them
honest.
in here.
They just made sure that they were that much more sniveling.
Yeah.
Sniveling.
The bad guy is very... What is the thing he does with the you Americans with your cartoons? Choo-choo. And then like, ooh. And
I was laughing so hard.
What is that cartoon? What cartoon are you talking about?
I love that Indy's just like, sure, I guess. So weird.
Some people still have a problem with the voice. I have no problem with the voice.
My issue comes down to the same issue I had with Emperor's Tomb, which is it's really hard to do the Harrison Ford impression, and give it an emotion, because the issue that some people have is that he's so monotone to make the voice stick that there's one or two like line deliveries that I'm like, I would have done another take to try to get more emotion from that line. Yeah, but I feel like he couldn't keep the impression up if he tried doing that.
Oh, it was just too hard.
That's the hard thing about doing Harrison Ford. Yeah. Because even Mark Hamill's Harrison Ford is just a very monotone guy.
Okay.
It's like, doing Harrison Ford's voice is actually surprisingly difficult.
Okay. I mean, outside of that, like, Michael, I feel like you might have more to say about this than I do, because this, like I said, it's mostly cutscene, so it looks nice. Like, the graphics are good. Yes. I don't have any problem with the voice. I like the creepy Nazi guy. I thought that it had a very kind of Indiana Jones flair to it, but outside of that, I don't know what else to say because it's just kind of
honestly my only other issues with it so far is the fact that it feels slower than if you were just watching an Indiana Jones movie.
Sure,
especially like the fight sequences, like when him and the Nazi guy are like punching each other.
Yeah,
it's like if this was like a choreographed sequence in a movie, it would be much faster.
Right,
but I feel like the fact that they have to render it for some reason slowed it down, and I don't know why. That makes sense.
Maybe they just want to take their time. I mean, I think a Wolfenstein 2...
like that hit that he did right there to Indy's gut would be much faster, probably.
Yeah.
If it was like a movie choreographed
or the way that crate sliding between them would be going faster. Yeah.
Exactly.
Hey, I could see that, actually. No, I didn't notice that. Hey, thanks for making it worse.
I watch a lot of Indiana Jones movies, and that was the thing that like struck me pretty much immediately.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna play this game. Like I said, Machine Games hasn't done me wrong. The Indiana Jones franchise has done me wrong, but Machine Games hasn't done anything to me, and so I will play whatever game they make.
Yeah, I'm very excited because I've been wanting a new Indiana Jones game for so long, guys. You have no idea.
Yeah. We're not going to talk too much about Mecha Break. This is that online mech arena combat thing. It's just multiplayer. It
looks fun.
It looks fun if you're into multiplayer. I was desperately hoping that Armored Core 6 would create a bunch of weird spin-off single-player games, and
that is the issue I have.
It really hasn't. So, like, this game is beautiful, and I would love to play it, but it is, like, it's an online game.
I think that's more because Daemon X Machina didn't do well.
Yeah.
And then maybe it caused some people to get some cold feet about the idea of doing that.
I don't even think Armored Core 6 did all that well in comparison to like Elden Ring or whatever. Like it did respectable numbers, but
compared to like the other Armored Cores, though,
right,
like it definitely did better than those.
Like this is probably counting more on the Gundam Breaker audience than like the Armored Core. Well, like, hey, are you doing Armored Core multiplayer? You can do this. Are you doing Gundam Breaker? You can do this too, type of thing.
It's very cool looking.
But it's very cool looking. Probably not going to play it.
It's probably going to be monetized to hell is my issue with it.
We got the trailer for Wu Chang Fallen Feathers. There's a few of these in here, Michael. There's a handful of like Chinese developed third-person action games that look fine.
Yes,
but I don't.
They also kind of blend in together.
But they don't have much. Like, there's nothing I can put my finger on to say this looks bad. But they ooze together. They all kind of ooze together in a way that like makes it like, well, maybe what was the game where that I liked the third-person game where the lady was dressed like a cyber stripper.
Oh, Stellar Blade.
Stellar Blade. Maybe Stellar Blade had a point about putting their character into the cyber hooker outfit because I remembered that one.
Yeah, if you showed this to me and you're like, this is just another playable character in the Wukong game,
right,
I would have believed you.
Right. And again, there's nothing wrong with this. There's absolutely nothing wrong with this. I'm glad to see that the Chinese development studios are getting better. Yes. That I can't clock it. I have to look at it a little bit more to clock it. The main thing is that it's like, okay, you've gone from like sometimes charmingly incompetent to like very fully competent. Now you need to get to like, now here's the hook that makes me go, ooh, I want to play that, right?
I can already see the reviews for this now. Everybody Wu Chang tonight.
The headlines. You got to give Michael $1 if you use that headline.
A quarter every time somebody says it.
Oh, poor Avowed. Avowed had a story trailer. I'm going to say the same thing I said the last time we saw Avowed. I think that the Outer Worlds worked better because it had the anti-corporate tongue-in-cheek stuff going on.
It's also not a spin-off of a game.
Right. Whereas this is just like, it looks like Skyrim with a bunch of neon, like, light packs installed. It looks like Skyrim, but on Pandora, sort of. Like, I'm not getting anything that's really dragging me into this. Maybe once you start playing it and like you get maybe what I need to see is the opening cutscene of this game that explains the world.
That makes sense.
But I don't know. Is it blowing your mind?
Not really. I was never that big of a fan of the Skyrim type stuff. Like I tried multiple times, and like you said, this feels somewhat more like that. I just want to play it because Obsidian tends to make fairly good games.
Yep.
And once I get my hands on it, maybe I'll like it more than maybe Skyrim. But I don't know. I doubt I'm actually going to care about the story or anything because I don't really know anything about this world to begin with. Because this is a spinoff,
right?
Which is the other reason that I hesitate playing it. But sometimes the spinoffs end up working out better than the actual original game.
There's the trailer. When I went back and rewatched it, the trailer does tell us it's like there's like some kind of problem with people's dreams, and then there's like voiceover from what's obviously like 3 different characters, like suggesting that you either like help them or like do the dream thing. There's like 3 paths that are being set up by the voiceover. I didn't realize that when I first watched it because it was so like slipping off my brain after watching the Xbox for like an hour that I was like,
Well, yeah, that's the hard thing that's the only issue I've always had with the conference ones is that you're like, wait, I don't really know if I was excited by that because my brain is still probably processing the thing I saw before it.
Yeah. Let's see. We saw Atom Fall. So weird to put this late.
This is a strange one.
It's from Rebellion. It takes place in like an alternate world, like 1970s British countryside, but there's like all these like atomic robots and shit, and you're like fighting them, and I think it's going to be like a squad based, horde based, like more like the Rebellion's Nazi zombies, but with a more it reminds me of what was that the game that I wanted to like so much, Atomic Heart. It reminds me a lot of Atomic Heart.
I can see that.
Of this kind of like mixed, these like mechs, but they're like old school. I don't know. I'm having a hard time even describe. I watched this trailer twice, and I was like, I don't really understand what I'm looking at.
Oh no, yeah, I was the same way. I was talking to a friend as this came on, and we were like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah.
And then eventually, we both decided this is probably what's going on the other side of the world during Fallout.
Right.
Like this is what's going on in Britain.
Okay.
They're having other weird shit that happened due to the Fallout issues.
Yeah.
And then it was called Atom Fall, and we're like, well, we might be kind of close to the idea.
Possibly.
But it's just weird looking because I was like, well, it's got some of that, and then there's a bow and arrow and a guy who looks like he's dressed in a Renaissance fair.
Right.
And then that confused me even further. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck.
That just raises further questions.
Exactly. And I'm like, I honestly won't know if I'm excited or not until I see something more about it.
Yeah.
I feel like is what's going on.
Again, it's a good tease, but I think that there's like a through line this year of like, guys, I've been teased and burned by a lot of games over the years. I'm gonna need a little bit more proof that what you got is something that I'm interested in than just like a good trailer. Anybody can make a good trailer. Anybody can make a trailer that looks good, and then you play the game and you're like, oh no.
Yeah.
So.
And if you can't make a good trailer, then you have fucked up immediately.
True. Speaking of bad trailers, no. We're going to talk about Assassin's Creed Shadows more later, so I'm just going to say there was a trailer for Assassin's Creed Shadows. Anything I said now would just be repeated later, so we're going to skip it because we're almost out of time for part 1.
The only thing I'll say about this trailer is it was willing to show more of the assassin side than the samurai side.
Mm-hmm. Stalker 2 got a new trailer. Is it weird? I was talking about this. I was talking about this with you yesterday. Is it weird that it was like they put out the old Stalker games and we played them, and I was like, oh, okay, I see what kind of games this is. I see what sort of games these are. And then I watched this trailer and I was like, oh no, this is just more of that.
Yeah.
Like very punishing, very open, very like. You figure it out, comrade. Like, I'm not here to hold your hand. I'm like, I'd like a little bit of hand holding. And it's like, well, then tough shit. Go play Metro, I guess.
That's always been my issue with the Stalker series. I'm like, I don't think these are for me.
Yeah.
As much as I would like them to be, I just don't have the patience for how punishing they could be.
I could be wrong. But everything I'm seeing in this trailer makes me be like, oh, wait.
And the thing is, there's nothing wrong with that per se, because like the thing is, like, if you like Stalker, it's more Stalker.
Yeah,
that's what it's for.
Yep.
And my only issue is that I don't think the general audience knows that.
Yeah, it Stalker never really caught on in a big way. Like none of them did, and I hope that this studio isn't doing a Square Enix. This is going to sell 30 million copies, because I don't think it's going to sell 30 million copies.
No,
like
I think it's gonna get the right audience. I just hope that the new audiences are patient with it.
Yeah.
That's my only hope for it.
I could also be totally wrong. This could totally be a different game, but it looks like a very technical, very brutal, very punishing.
The team needs to win is the main thing, because this team is literally in the middle of some shit. So I hope it does well for them.
I do too. Yeah, we'll find out later this year. Let's see. As you mentioned before, there are 3 new Xboxes. There's an all digital. Okay, so there's a 2 terabyte Xbox Series X. There is an all digital Series X, and then there is a 2 terabyte Series S. Is that it?
I don't remember what the other one was. It's
a 1 terabyte
because those are
Series S.
Those are 512 gigs originally. So that's the difference between them.
Great. Way to innovate, guys. Bigger hard drives, fewer CD drives.
My favorite thing, they're like, there's even more Xboxes that nobody wants to buy.
Yep.
I'm just like, you guys have so many that nobody's bought still, so
all right.
We'll see how this goes.
And then we're going to finish up. This was a big thing for a lot of people. I was not one of them.
Same. I was not one of them either.
Gears of War E-Day. This is a prequel. This is I thought we already had a prequel, and it was called Gears of War Judgment, and it was made by People Can Fly.
It was a prequel. It's just it takes place after E-Day, if I remember correctly.
This is the Marcus Phoenix E-Day story, not the blonde guy, whoever his name was.
I forgot his name.
E-Day story.
Nobody liked that game.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
I thought it was all right, but that was just me.
Yeah, even the Gears fans weren't a fan of it.
So I'm going to say right now, I'm a little disappointed because I wanted Gears of War 6. I like the sequel games.
Yeah, the sequel story still hasn't finished yet.
Yes.
And there was an interview where they're like, look, we're still going to do it, but we decided we wanted to do this too.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, that's cool. But it's, this is a nostalgia thing where you're like, people want to be Marcus and Dom again and listen to Mad World sad again because there's the Mad World.
Yeah, they still piping the Mad World in on this trailer. I mean, listen, the entire trailer is Marcus Phoenix fighting one Locust guy, almost falling in a hole, and then Dom saves him.
Because it's like the first time he's ever seen a Locust, basically. So he has no idea what the fuck's happening. Also, I always assumed Dom was bald when his little do-rag came off. I'm like, oh, he had hair.
Oh, Marcus?
Yeah. Marcus, yeah. I always assumed Marcus was bald under that do-rag of his.
Yeah.
But it turns out he has had hair this entire time.
It turns out that if you take the soul patch and the do-rag off, Marcus Phoenix just looks like every other person ever. Like, he's so generic looking.
It's surprising when you look at him. You're like, that is not... Like, I have such a hard time connecting that and his, him with his little do-rag on.
I was never the Gears guy. I like the sequels. Like, I like the sequels. I like Tactics a lot. I had played 1, 2, and 3, or no, I played 3 was where I picked it up. I had a friend who desperately wanted me to play Xbox games co-op with him, and he made me play all the way through Halo 3 with him, split screen on a 4x3 television. I was like, this sucks, my man. I don't want to do this. And he was like, no, come over next weekend. We'll play all of Gears. And so I started playing it. He was really good at Gears, and I'd never played it before. Yeah. And the guy's fucking... like they handle like Mack trucks, and like if you ever get out of cover, you're dead immediately. And the weird button combination to start the chainsaw was hard, and so I died. And he started yelling at me, and I just told him I'm going home. Like I wasn't enjoying this in the first place. And then he started yelling at me for not being better at the game. No,
so I think I've told you this. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to give the Gears series a chance again because you were such a big fan of 5.
Yeah. I
was like, you know what? I'm going to do what I intend to do. Is like I'm just going to play all of them.
Yep.
And I'm like I have Game Pass. I'm going to download the remaster
collection
they did for the first one. I'm going to play this game, and I'm going to be like, this was a good game the whole time. About 30, 40 minutes in, I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't care about this. I have no love of this. My nostalgia for this was so low because I played this game with my brother when it came out, but what I played more of was the multiplayer with my brother. But I mean the deathmatch one. But the problem is that I was young and all of his friends were military bros who were just like talking in signs and shit, and I'm just like, I'm over here. I'm just gonna shoot this guy, and I would die immediately because I'm fighting fucking military men in a shooter, and I'm like, this isn't fun. But I was good at the Halo one, but I was bad at this. So I have no no great memories of Gears of War.
Who knows, man? Maybe it's great. Maybe it's great. Maybe it'll be great. I don't know. I mean, maybe
I'm happy for you Gears fans.
Maybe if you don't have to have all the baggage of knowing what happens in 1, 2, and 3. That was why I liked 4 and 5, was because it was a new start.
Yeah.
So maybe this one was better because it's disconnected from the original 3-part story. You don't have to keep talking about Dom and his wife, and I don't have to care about that because I didn't play 1 or 2 every 10 minutes. So
I just hope people who are screaming like, "Where are my white guys?" I'm like, "Here you go, guys."
There you go. Yeah.
Back to the old
roided out
buff guys,
fucking soul patch white guys.
That was the funniest thing about Gears of War. Everybody's biceps are the size of like tree trunks.
Yep.
And all the women are like petite.
Yep.
And they're like, "How are you keeping that muscle mass, guys?" Like you're desperately like, "We have no food." I'm like, I doubt that.
And that's Xbox. And with that, we're done with what I hope is a third of the way through this. I got to be honest, folks. When we come back, we're gonna do the actual Summer Games Fest show. Not even remotely. This was the best one. This was the best one. This one had the most interesting stuff, even though we glossed over a lot of stuff. Xbox brought like big announcements, big games, right?
If we were doing the chart of like who won,
yes,
it would be legitimately be Xbox.
Yes.
Which is actually a very nice surprise for once.
Yeah. Well, it's not that hard when you consider that their main competition was like Ubisoft.
That's true. PlayStation State of Play didn't bring anything.
Yes, and
Nintendo hasn't said shit so far.
And Jeff Keighley literally came out to say, temper your expectations for the PC gaming show or for the Game Fest. So
we're not gonna have Kingdom Hearts 4. Yeah, don't fucking expect that.
Yeah. Anyway, we're gonna take a break. When we come back, we're gonna move on to those other ones. So we'll see you in just a minute. And it is time for the Summer Games Fest proper.
Yes. Also, it turns out it was just Game Fest this whole time.
Oh, yeah.
Not
Summer
Game
Fest, yes.
And my brain was like, I don't accept that.
I did. I don't really think it matters. I don't think it matters.
Doesn't, but it bothers me because I thought it was Games Fest this whole time.
Yeah, let's just jump into it. We got a lot to get over. We got a lot to get through.
Let's get through Jeff Keighley's things.
Here's the weirdest thing I saw all weekend was okay, so there's Lego guy. He's trying out for a game. What game is he going to be in? And then it's Horizon Zero Dawn, and I was like, oh, they're going to make like a Sony Lego game where it's like The Last of Us and The Last of Us, Lego Last of Us, Lego Ghost of Tsushima, Lego God of War. No, it is just Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah,
it is just a Lego Horizon Zero Dawn game. What and why and also what?
Because like what's so confusing about this is that the reason they make the Lego games usually is they're adaptations of movies that don't have games at the moment.
Yep.
This is a game that's getting an adaptation game
into a different
for Legos
game. I
don't understand why this is a thing.
And it's like a top-down game. It's got all the Lego, Aloy and company are collecting the bits. And
also, there's only 2 games, by the way.
Yeah,
like a lot of those adaptations are like long things,
right?
Like
long-running franchise
plots, like. Lord of the Rings had like multiples. Star Wars had multiples.
Dude, what if they made Lego Metal Gear? That'd be great.
That's the thing. Is like, what if anybody deserves Lego things?
Yeah,
it's either Uncharted,
right,
or Metal Gear, or something that's had more than like 2 games.
Sure. This is really weird. I think that this. Okay, so I think that the thought here was that this is going to be on the Switch. This is how we get Horizon on the Switch.
That was the most surprising thing actually about it as well.
Because the base Horizon could not be on the Switch, right? So, but really weird Horizon Adventures coming out holiday of this year. Lego Aloy. I guess that like if that does well, they may do it for other things as well. But like,
I kind of hope that's the case, to be honest.
do I want to play Lego God of War, Michael? I don't know if I do. I don't know if I want to play Lego God of War.
I would if it's like the first 3, because I want to see what they do to make it Lego-fied.
Yeah.
Because that would be really funny.
Do I want to play Lego Ghost of Tsushima? I don't know that I do.
I want the Lego ones to be made of the most violent ones you have.
The Lego Last of Us 2.
Yeah.
I want to see the Lego scene where they clock Joel in the head.
Exactly. Also, my favorite thing to come out of this was that people were making fun of the weirdos from when part 2 came out. They're like, this Lego isn't sexy enough. I used AI to make it sexy, and it's just that image from that they kept posting.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny.
So weird.
Super
so weird. I have no idea.
Super
I don't have anything else to say because I'm like flabbergasted. It's like it doesn't even do anything with the, like, you know, the combat in Horizon Zero Dawn is about shooting very specific places on these monsters.
Yes.
And it's just a very simplified top-down isometric action game. And it's like, okay.
This is just like it's a cutesy run style.
Yep.
Which it looks like she's out for a morning jog.
Yep.
And then just shoots things.
But then there's also like they show like building stuff in like your encampment, and it's like a Ferris wheel, a DJ stand, a dance floor. So it's obviously taking itself not seriously at all.
Yeah, but all Lego games do that. But it's just weird that this is the thing getting a Lego game.
Yeah, it is. It's very weird. It's very weird, and I don't understand it. And
because the other thing I mentioned was about those adaptations is they're shortened versions of these storylines.
Sure.
So are we just getting shortened versions of 1 and 2?
Yes.
Which were 2 games. I don't understand why that. Like
it's weird.
Like I can't come up with anything.
It's fucking weird. It's fucking weird. Next we got the premiere trailer for No More Room in Hell 2.
Yes. That's a game that happened.
Which is another one of these like I don't know. This was boring as shit to me, man.
I don't know anybody who likes No More Room in Hell 1, to be honest.
I mean, it looks like it's like what, that Escape from Tarkov or something like that, where it's like it's a first-person shooter, it's a co-op shooter, there's zombies. It's the day before, right?
Yeah.
Like, but like it actually exists, and it looks like it's not bad, but also. I have no fucking interest at all in something like this.
I don't either, to be honest. These are the types of games that in high school I might have liked.
Yeah.
I always say that a lot because in high school I didn't have anything else to do.
Yeah.
So I lived in a border town, and it was either do very illegal things or play video games.
Right.
And I chose the video games one. Whether or not that was the better choice, I think it was, because I don't have 6 kids.
eight player co-op, shooting, massive map, lots of zombies.
It's like a Survive the Longest thing too, or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
I think it's like an Extraction, and maybe I don't know. I really don't. I just can't tell you how uninteresting this is to me. Like, it's just not something that I'm all that interested in.
It's definitely a game that for like people that know a lot of people that play games together.
Yeah,
and that's I'm good. I'm happy for you guys, but I don't have any interest in that anymore.
Yeah, coming out early access Halloween of this year. Let's see. Also, things I don't give a shit about. Quidditch Champions. There's a Quidditch game you can play with your friends. Nah, man.
I'm good.
It's cool. Like,
to understand Quidditch, you need to know what a crumpet is.
I don't. Nope. Yeah, I don't give a shit.
Well, I'm okay. I will never understand people's obsessions with Quidditch.
Yeah.
To the point where people, I'm using quotey fingers, play it in real life.
Sure.
Because there are leagues for Quidditch that people do where they're running around in broomsticks. So this will help those people not look like crazy people, minimum.
Sure.
But I will always ask this question till the end of time: is why are there Quidditch leagues but not basketball leagues?
Oh, I didn't actually see that. Available from day one with PlayStation Plus. This is another one of those, like, it's going to be free to PlayStation Plus in September.
God. Yeah,
so.
this game won't last long.
Whatever.
Very few of them last long.
There's other stuff to talk about that's more interesting, and this next game is not one of those things. This is Cuff Burst. This is from the guy that made Cuff Bust. This is the guy that made Choo Choo Charles, and it's another. Okay, listen, we got to take just a real brief moment. We're trying to get through stuff. Michael, I have to tell you, as much as I would love to pretend or have an actual interest every single time during this whole thing where they're like, and it's 4 players, you can play it with your friends, and it's a co-op game, and I'm just like, pass. Like, immediately my brain is like, I'm not interested in those games. They're shallow, they're dull, I don't enjoy playing them, they're repetitive, you do the same thing over and over again, and I can understand if you're doing that to hang out with your friends. I make my friends come over here and talk about those games. I don't want to play them in my spare time. Like, I might record one for a dojo, but like, this is, you're playing a bunch of koala bears trying to break out of prison, and like,
I just remembered what I was going to say on the other game as well as this game, because this is what made me remind me for this.
Made me
remember this. Sorry, these games are streamer games.
Yes,
these games are designed specifically for people to play on streams or something, or even us doing a quick thing where it's like the 4 of us or something that we did recently.
Oh, like the
like we did for I already forgot the name of it. The camera one.
Yeah.
Do not viewer beware. What the fuck was the name of it?
I don't remember.
Viewer discretion or some shit. I forgot the name of it. But that's those types of games.
Yeah.
But people play these on stream a lot with a bunch of guys, and they're like we're gonna destroy this wall. Thanks for subscribing, douche nozzle 5 or something.
Right.
Like, that's just what these are.
Yeah.
And I'm happy for those people who now have more content. But I don't give a shit about this.
Yeah. I especially I don't like. The thing is that was it not safe for work? That was
Well, Lethal Company was one that we did.
Lethal Company, but see, with like Lethal Company was different. Like that like, I don't like it when it's just a shooter, and this one's just like, I don't know, you're trying to escape. I don't know. Choo Choo Charles was such an interesting idea.
Yes.
And it was striking, and I knew what it was from the moment that I saw it, and I was like,
is it just viewer discretion? Is that the name of it? It's viewer something. The one that we did recently.
I don't remember.
That's
content warning.
Content warning.
Content warning. There we go.
But that's the problem, is that there's so many of these games that are like that they start blending together in my head that I can't remember the names of them. And I know I'm going to forget the name of this probably after it's out, because people are going to stop streaming it, and then it's going to die.
Yep. Cuff bust. I'm not interested. I don't know. Star Wars Outlaws had a trailer. This is like Assassin's Creed. We're not going to talk about this because there's a whole Ubisoft thing, and there's more there.
The trailer just ends with like, watch Ubisoft.
Right. There's a lot more there, and there's more to talk about there. I'd rather put it in that place, so stick around for that. I think it'll be in the 3rd part. Let's see. After that, we saw Neva. That is... this is from the people that made
Gris.
It's not Gris. It's called Grease, actually.
Grease is the word?
Yes. This is they have the same animation style as Grease, and it's like a side-scrolling, hand-animated game where you play as like a lady and you've got like a dog with you, or like it's like a dog deer type of thing.
This is that trailer that had the dog deers, the adult dog wolf deer or whatever, and then I guess it dies or something, and so it's just you and the kid one or something.
And so it's like an adventure game. It's we need to come up with a good name for these types of games where it's like you and an animal.
I call them cozy animal pals, or something like that.
I like the side-scrolling combat looks good here. Like the whole thing is beautiful as hell, and it looks really good.
Yeah, a lot of these have I'm this is gonna sound bad because they to me they have very similar art styles, where they have the cozy look but have like a very interesting story going on at the same time.
I don't know.
If that makes sense.
I wouldn't identify this as cozy because to me it reads more like, I don't know, maybe Ori. Does Ori read as cozy to you? It feels to me a little bit more like that.
This is more like soft colors is the reason I say it feels more cozy, whereas a lot of those other games try to add the grit to it.
Yeah.
But this one tries to keep the sort of anime cozy look to
sort of pastel,
if that makes sense.
Yeah, some slightly desaturated type of stuff.
And there's nothing wrong with that, is what I'm saying. It's just that like for some reason a lot of the ones that do these have that same sort of like trying to keep the upbeat color to it, even though there's like some fucked up shit going on in it.
I get what you're talking about. I don't know. This looks good. Like this is another one of those ones where it's like, if a game like this ends up being too slow, it'll lose me.
Yes.
If it ends up being too atmospheric, it'll lose me. It needs to have something to really keep me hooked on the combat to drive it forward, because I'm not going to care as much about the virtual animal as some people do.
Yeah.
So
I get it.
Let's see from there. What do you say about a cinematic trailer for Civilization 7, Michael?
The only thing you can say is I hope Gandhi still wants to nuke everybody. That's all you need from Civilization. That's it.
They're making a new Civilization. I will say at the end of this trailer, Sid Meier comes out. And as somebody noted in the Discord, I don't think I've ever actually seen Sid Meier before.
I always assumed Sid Meier was a dead guy.
Like Tom Clancy?
Well, Tom Clancy was alive when those were made, too. But I assumed Sid Meier was like the name of like a historian from like 30 years ago.
Oh, no.
Who died at some point.
A game developer. Yeah, I mean, like this is just like it's a pan through all of these giant statues showing a bunch of stuff happening in the world. Great. Tell me the details of what's going to be different in Civ 7 than other games.
The other thought process I had is I thought Sid Meier was like Dr. Seuss. That's like not his name.
Yeah, it's coming out next year. Show me more. This says watch the gameplay showcase this August. So I'll do that.
I still don't think that guy's real.
Sid Meier, you think that's an AI?
I'm looking right at him. He's a paid actor. He doesn't exist.
He looks like a grandpa.
He also looks very surprised.
Yeah. They're just like, Sid, get out here. We're going to film a thing for Jeff Keighley.
Is this for my grandkids? Are we on the Zoom?
Let's see. From there, Black Myth Wukong, not going to talk about it. We've seen a billion Black Myth Wukong.
Billion trailers. It still looks good, though.
Looks good. Going to buy it. Going to play it. I'm sold. You can stop selling it to me. We got more stuff to talk about than that. So, also along those lines, we saw more Metaphor Refantasio. A lot of this was an interview with the developer talking about all the different classes. So we saw there's 40 different basically archetypes that you can get in the game. You can switch between those classes. This game looks great. Everything I've seen of this game looks absolutely amazing. I can't wait to play it.
I hope it does well for them, so they have another big IP they can make stuff for.
Well, after this, they'll probably have to go back and make Persona 6 because the fan base will eat themselves if you don't give them a Persona game once every 8 years. So
that's why they keep making music ones.
Yeah,
so they can keep them at bay.
But there wasn't much to this outside of just showing this stuff in the background. There was a short trailer. It was more of, I feel like, what we've seen. Really nice looking anime. We got a bigger trailer. We got a bigger explanation for this at it's like a showcase or something a few months back.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's anything here that we haven't seen before. Just more. Yep, that's Metaphor Refantasio, all right. So, yeah, we'll just move forward. Similarly, I don't know how much. Again, Batman Arkham Shadow World. This is the VR Batman game they showed. I like camouflage. I don't think it's a bad idea to make this a VR game, even though I don't have a MetaQuest 3.
I think this was a terrible idea.
Okay.
Because for many reasons, not just because of not because of the MetaQuest, it being exclusively on the MetaQuest, is because this was the monkey paw for many fans of Arkham Origins. Because they're like, I want Roger Craig Smith to be in Batman again, and I want like a sequel to Arkham Origins, and somebody's like, done. And then the genie like laughed maniacally as it happened.
Right.
And then you're like, and then this showed up, and you're like, ah, fuck. And my favorite thing was Jason Schreier's tweet where he's like, you felt the entire room just deflate.
Oh, right.
During this entire thing. Because you're like, this looks cool, but we know it's not like a game.
It's a VR game.
VR game, but that frustrates all of us.
Yeah.
Especially after, how Suicide Squad did so badly. It's the worst possible time for this to be what your next Batman game is. Especially an Arkham game.
Also, I don't like the fact that it's only on the MetaQuest.
Yes, exactly. Why are you showing a MetaQuest 3 only game at
PC,
GameFest?
PSVR 2.
That would have been cool. Yeah, people would have been more excited if it was like, hey, this is a PSVR 2 game.
I do like the idea, though, in the Arkham universe, so they've got so many heavy hitters down of having like the Rat King be the big bad. I think that's a great idea.
Exactly, and that would have been a much more interesting idea if it was in an actual like console game or something,
a full game that people could play,
or even a PSVR one, because that would have made it more exciting.
Yep.
Only people can hope maybe it'll port to PSVR 2 to give that thing games. Camouflage.
Republic game that they made, I think that started as a VR only game and then they did port it to non-VR. I don't know if it's going to be, because Republic was the one where you're looking through cameras and then you're like telling the lady where to go. that could work for this. So I don't know. But then also, I don't want to be a hypocrite. So this is just a cinematic. Who knows? This game could look like total ball sack and be shit.
It's good. It's a VR game, so it's gonna probably look okay at most.
Yeah,
depending on what's going on.
Michael, Street Fighter 6.
The most exciting thing that happened in this entire thing. For
Street Fighter 6 Year 2 Fighters reveal. You got your Fatal Fury in my Street Fighter.
My boy showed up.
Terry Bogart's here to kick Alex's ass, as well as and M. Bison is back as well. He's like
somehow M. Bison returned.
Somehow M. Bison returned.
And then Elena, everybody's favorite dancing super tall lady.
Yep.
Who everybody who played Street Fighter 4 had massive PTSD flashbacks the second they announced her, because she was very hard to kill in that back then.
They announced their season 2 lineup. Is this the first time that they've done like SNK DLC for Street Fighter?
Like that's in Street Fighter proper?
Yeah.
Everything else before that was only in Capcom versus SNK 2.
Okay.
Or the Capcom versus SNK games.
How do you feel about that? How do you feel about, because I think some people were mad about them taking up slots that they could have put Street Fighter characters in with SNK characters.
They were mad at it, but the thing is that Tekken broke the seal on that a long time ago. The second Tekken 7 came out, and they're like, hey, by the way, Akuma's in Tekken 7.
Right.
And he's actually part of the plot. And then Tekken 7 was like, oh, also we have Geese, and also we have fucking the guy from The Walking Dead.
Right.
Like, it was just a bunch of random ass characters, and people were like, Capcom, why aren't you doing that? And they're like, oh, you want that? Well, I'll show you that. and then they busted in with fucking Terry Bogard, and I lost my goddamn fucking mind. And my favorite thing is that I lost my goddamn mind not at home, because I wasn't at home when this happened. I was at a bar hanging out with somebody, and I pulled out my phone because they went to get a drink, and they came back and they're like, why are you so fucking giddy? I was like,
don't worry about it. It would take too long to explain.
Yeah, if I explain it to you, it'll take me a little while. But every Mexican I know got super excited very fast, because King of Fighters is a huge thing down there.
Okay, well, there you go.
I'm so excited, guys.
I just saw it. I was like, I'm so happy for Michael right now, because
I'm so happy still. I'm happy now. I'm giddy now, and I've already seen this trailer like 8 times.
This also makes okay, Terry Bogard is in King of Fighters. Terry Bogard is in Smash Brothers. Terry Bogard is in Street Fighter 6.
Yeah, and he's going to be in his game that's coming up soon.
Right.
I think I don't know. Did they showed a trailer for that? I think here too, if I remember correctly.
It's a little bit further down the list. So
Terry Bogard's in everything.
Bogard. Everything got a Terry Bogard.
Put him in Fortnite.
Tears of Metal. This was a very weird game. It's like a Scottish action game with these kind of crazy characters, like crazy looking characters. It's like a third-person action game with like giant battles and some RPG elements. I don't know. This is another one of those ones that didn't really like do all that much for me, because it's got
a nice art style. It's an indie one.
Yeah.
And I think whoever is interested in this time period is going to be really excited.
Yeah.
I'm not one of them.
Yeah.
But I'm happy for you guys. It looks fine, is really what it comes down to.
I think it looks very generic. Outside of the art style, I think that it looks like a generic third-person hack and slash game. It
kind of reminds me of Dynasty Wars, but with more going on to it, if that makes sense.
I can see that, because it's just a sheer number of people on there.
Yeah.
It's co-op. It's roguelike. It's sure.
Yeah,
sure.
Play the Braveheart theme or whatever when you're doing it.
Right. You got a new Dragon Ball Sparking Zero trailer. This one I think was just a general trailer. It didn't announce anything in particular.
It announced the release date.
Oh, okay.
Because we didn't know the release date, as well as showing off some more of the what if stuff, which was really cool. Like the idea of like, what if you turn Super Saiyan in the beginning of the show instead of like later on. But they talked more about it in another trailer and another thing later down the line.
October 11th.
Yes, and I've already pre-ordered the Ultimate Edition that is supposed to come out 3 days earlier.
Michael, you're making me look bad over here with the pre-order and stuff.
I bought it so fast, guys.
Holy shit! All right, we're gonna have to speed up a little bit though, because
I didn't buy the collector's editions because that was like $230, and I'm like, I'm not that crazy.
Delta Force Hawk Ops. You remember what I said about 4-player online military shooter games?
Yeah.
That's what this is.
You also said more of them need Chuck Norris.
This doesn't have Chuck Norris. Oh.
It doesn't, but it should, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I didn't see a single Crime Boss Rock City trailer in this entire show. I watched so many trailers. I didn't see a single. I didn't see fucking Michael Madsen but once.
Not once.
Yeah, this just looks like because of online 4-player military Call of Duty thing. The only thing that made this stand out was the fact that they've got like officially licensed Black Hawk Down DLC or mission
so
pack.
Strange.
And it's like what, like the early 2000s movie with Ewan McGregor.
Yeah. Also, apparently, the real story of Black Hawk Down is less exciting.
It is because I read the book that it was based on. So.
Also, one of them I think turned out to be a terrible person or something like that. Something like that.
That whole thing was very complicated.
Every time you look at like
difficult,
actual history, it gets very complicated very fast.
I don't know if this is like. Is even remotely like the time period where we would want an official tie-in game for this event. This event was not this is not a heroic action movie that you want to be in.
It wasn't the fun time that gamers want.
Yeah, this is like that 7 Days in Fallujah game where you're just like,
oh yeah,
do you guys really want to be doing this? Okay,
it's strange. But it's been long enough that people are willing to make games based on some weird time periods.
I guess
Black Ops being in the 90s, they're like, we could do this.
I suppose. The fact that it's based on like, this is the book that was written by a person that was there, and it was made into a movie that was very faithful to the book, and now you're making a game out of this movie, which means you're making a game based on like actual events that happened.
Yeah, that somebody has actual PTSD for.
And that's just a little weird to me.
It's very strange, but we're at the point. It's that story where it's like, hey, if Marty McFly went back to the back in time, it would just be like the 90s,
right?
Like that's just people feel like it's been long enough now that they're allowed to do that sort of thing.
I feel like for the last 8 minutes we've been like Michael game, not Michael game, Michael game, not Michael game. Next up, we've got the the Mark of the Wolves, Fatal Fury premiere trailer showing actual gameplay, which we haven't really seen yet.
Yeah.
Even though most of this trailer is just like this weird flashback thing, and there's only a little bit, but looks like King of Fighters game. I don't know. It's got a little bit more like hard black lines around the characters, but
it's got some stylization going on with it. And I found that there were longer trailers for the two characters they show off.
Oh, okay.
in this trailer. So I watched those as well, and it looks great. It looks fantastic.
It looks a hell of a lot like the King of Fighters, but with more cell shading.
Yes, I am very, very excited.
Does it look more like, what was that weird King of Fighters spinoff that was just the ladies? It was the ladies,
the cuties or whatever. I don't remember the name of it.
Yeah,
it also had the weirdest DLC I'd ever seen, which is they added Terry Bogard to it. But it
was a gender flip.
The story was that Terry was turned into a woman.
Right.
Like that was the actual story reason as to why Terry was in it. And I was like, this is just fucking weird, but sure.
It was such a weird game.
But it comes back to us saying that Terry is in everything.
Yep.
Even the one that he probably should not be.
Yep. He's also in this game as well. So let's see. From there, this was pretty big. Blumhouse Games. This is a new thing where Blumhouse Studios is branching out to be a game publisher. As long as they don't interfere with the creative process, I'm very happy.
Oh, I'm very down for it because Blumhouse is willing to make weird shit.
Yep.
If they're interested enough in it, they'll give you the money for it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great idea for a game. Or game studio stuff.
Or for a publisher, basically.
Yes, for a publisher.
They announced, or they showed, I think it's like 5 games.
Yeah.
So there's one called Crystal Theater of Idols. It's kind of like an action game where you're shooting like these weird dolls and stuff.
My favorite thing is that like some people were like, is this the same game? When it cut to the pixel part, like it's weird that they would put these two in the one game.
Yeah. There's one called Grave Seasons that looks like it's like Harvest Moon or Stardew Valley, but also it's got like horror elements to it. There's one called Sleep Awake that's very like just very very strange and surreal.
Yeah. And then Through the Spotlight was like, oh, it's another one of those PS1-y type ones.
Fear the Spotlight is very weird because I went online to look at it. There's a strange story with this. I went online to look up some of these games on Steam. Fear the Spotlight was out.
Really?
It's on Steam. It came out like earlier this year or late last year. And then it's now been like the store page is there, but you can't buy it.
That's interesting.
It's disabled, and it's got a note saying basically like, hey, developers here, Blumhouse gave us a bunch of money, so we're going to take this game down. We're going to do a huge update where we add a lot more story content to it, refine what's already there, smooth out some of the things that people complained about, and then we're going to re-put it out in the fall.
Oh, wow.
So there's already a Steam page for Fear to Spotlight, but it's not out.
That is interesting.
Yeah, because I like looked it up, and I was like, oh shit, it's on Steam. I'm going to buy it. And I was like, oh, I can't buy it. Oh, and I kind of expected it to like be like, oh, it's coming out like later today, and they're just doing an update. But then I read the big update, and I was like, oh no,
that's really interesting. Yeah, that's fascinating that you can do that.
The simulation is very weird. This is very interesting. Of like, there's been a murder. Why do they want me, a game developer, to help them solve it? And like, it's like you've got like game dev tools inside of this simulation of like a murderer or something, and then like, God, that last part, they show the like first person, like a character walking up towards what looks like a pixelated like a Castlevania character, but when they get closer, it's like the pixels are coming out of flesh, like
which is actually a really cool like visual.
And then the last thing is an announcement of a game where Sam Barlow and Brandon Cronenberg are going to make a game, and I'm like, yes, please.
I'm very excited for that idea.
That sounds perfect. I will totally take the guy that made Possessor and the guy that made what was the one with the actress? Because Sam Barlow made Her Story, right? But then he also made what was it? It was called like
talking about that. Was that the AI one or whatever?
No, it was like where you had to figure out what happened to the actress.
You're talking about the game.
Yeah. It was
Lie to Me? No, not Lie to Me. That's a movie. It involved the word lie.
Immortality.
Oh, that's what it was.
There you go.
Her Story was the other. I was thinking Telling Lies was the other game I was thinking of.
Right.
The one with,
we played that one.
The one with Discount Tom Hardy, as we used to call him.
Yep. I think that's a great idea. The only thing is, I think that Blumhouse has a reputation right now for interfering with some of the movies that they put out to make them more palatable for a larger audience. Like they put out that haunted pool movie.
Such a weird fucking thing to do.
That apparently is terrible, and people are blaming Blumhouse for it being terrible.
And they did that Imaginary.
Oh yeah,
as well as another one that apparently is also terrible.
So I'm hoping that it's just like they're just bankrolling this because horror games make bank. So
and they actually don't cost that much depending on the developer.
Absolutely not. Small teams can make a lot, do a lot.
Yeah,
so
goes a long way.
From there, there's a Power Rangers game, Rita's Rewind. This is a beat 'em up.
Yes,
a beat 'em up Power Rangers game.
I'm only excited because it looks like you can actually have all the Rangers on screen, which is actually really cool.
Yeah.
Especially if you're able to, because that was the thing. That was the great thing about the Ninja Turtles one, is that you could have like all 6 or 5 people on screen at once.
I think it play up to like 8 in Turtles. Or
you can play.
Like
it's really high, and it's like fucking madness when you do it. It's really fun. But yeah, I like the idea. My issue I had with the last one they did was the music wasn't very good.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that this learns from that. And there's also a lot of really cool things going on that's just not just a beat 'em up, but
there's like shooter stages,
like it reminds me of like there was a racing Power Rangers game, but they probably like based that on idea.
Okay.
And then also like the shooter thing was something that the Battletoads arcade game did at one point.
And there's like a first person mode for when you're in the Zord.
Like it's a game that's like there's a lot going on in it, and I'm curious as to how it works when you're playing multiplayer kind of thing.
Yeah. All right. Now for the other half. Let's see. Oh, there was an Xbox. What? Xbox Showcase. Did I open up the wrong links?
It might have just been shown at the same time.
Oh, I think I had it running and it just autoplayed something else. So, well, that's all about right because the next thing that was on the list was Deer and Boy.
Oh, that thing.
Which is another just like it's a person and an animal. It's a cute kid and a little deer, and they're having a strange adventure.
And then it turns out the deer has powers.
Yeah.
It's a weird one because you're like, oh, this is kind of like the sweet thing of a boy and his deer. And then the deer's like, and now I'm like a fucking super deer. Like, what did this come from?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
I'm sure it's fine.
I don't know.
It's another one of those stories. Like I said, like we said, it's a person and their animal, and weird shit starts happening. But I don't know. It could be something. I think when we know more about what the actual story is, it'll be more interesting.
Yeah. I know why this trailer is like it is, to appeal to people who really just they're a sucker for animal stuff.
It needs a better name though.
Yeah,
just Deering Boy. I guess that's the name of it.
There's a little bit more creativity than that.
I feel like that was the issue with a lot of games in the PC gaming show.
Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, we're not going to talk very much about. It just shows more of it, and it looks a lot like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. So there's not a lot that can be said, except that this game looks like it's pretty good. I'm interested to give it a try and see if it's more accessible than the first one. So. On the other hand, we finally got a full trailer for Slitterhead. This is the game that's being made by, if I'm not mistaken, right, the guy that made the original Silent Hill.
Yeah. Because I remember that trailer they showed off last year.
It was very small, very weird. This you talk about like deer and boy and how there's some people that are into like cute animals, and I'm like, this weirdness is what Jeff is into.
Yes. This is the stuff that I want.
It looks like Parasite the Maxim almost. Like you're jumping between people, and then there's a lot of like weird kind of bio horror stuff going on. It's a little rough around the edges as far as the animation and stuff goes, but I love the concept of just being able to jump into any NPC, and then now you're controlling this guy, now you're controlling this lady. I think all the monster stuff looks really grotesque and amazing and different, like not just like that Diablo trailer. It was just like, oh, here's gore, and here it's like this weird insectoid, strange colors. Like
it's really cool looking. Like it's taking advantage of the fact that this is a game and you can just make some weird shit with it.
It's all really unique. Again, a big Parasite the Maxim vibes.
Oh, 100%.
Big Parasite the Maxim vibes. So, yeah, this one I'm so into. It does look like it's going to be rough, but
yes.
I'm hoping that there's enough there to keep it going, even if it's a little rough, because I love the weird looking monsters and the crazy ass, just the implications of what's going on here. Like,
it's such an interesting idea.
Yeah, definitely. The blood chain gun.
It's so cool.
There's so much going in here that I'm like, yeah, I want to do that. Yeah, I want to do that too.
Yeah.
And the guy's arm gets chopped off, and then he like grabs it, like the tendon like reels back in, or the sequence where they're jumping between all the different things. That at the end they jump into a dog. And I'm just like, I want to be the thing from the thing.
No, it's such a cool idea, and I'm very excited.
It's coming out November 8th of this year,
which is very surprising.
Yep. From there, I don't understand Killer Bean.
So for people who don't know, Killer Bean is an IP that this one guy and his wife have been just doing for years.
Yeah. And
like every now and then I've seen like clips of it, and I'm like, this is really dumb but kind of fun. And people really like it for some reason.
Okay.
Like, it's had enough legs that the internet like has this weird fondness for the weirdness of it.
It's weird.
And then they announced the game, and I was like, this game has so much weird, cool shit going on in it. I don't understand how this happened.
Like the game itself looks kind of cool, but I don't want to play the bean.
Yeah.
Like all the shooting a bullet to like this thing where he jumps out the window and then assassinates somebody in slow motion on the way down to the ground. Like a lot of this looks really awesome. I do not want to play a big butt, like a big butt bean. Like
it's so weird.
Head looks like an ass. It's like a chicken nugget ass.
Like there's a lot of cool concepts going on, but it's for this,
right?
And I don't understand how that happened.
Right, I don't either, and so I don't know if it's free on Game Pass or like $20 on Steam. I might give it a shot because, again, like I said, a lot of the action going on here looks amazing. These animations look incredible. Is there an option to make it not a bean?
Yeah,
because. It's like I don't want to play Call of Duty with the McNugget buddies, okay? Like I
don't know how to feel. I generally don't. Like it looks like the ultimate like game, but the the presentation's not what I want.
Yeah. But the character is putting me off real bad.
Good for that guy though, who really wants this to be an IP.
I don't know. It's coming into early access this summer. Maybe we'll take a look. Oh right, Cairn is the next thing on our list.
Yes.
So Cairn is from the people that made God, what is it?
That woman is very tall, by the way. The show, the developers there, and the very tall lady was there.
Yeah. So this is the team they made. Okay. Oh, God, what the hell was the name of it, Michael? The game where you're two teenagers that are on a planet and you've got to like rebuild, but it's also romance.
Oh, we played that.
Yeah.
And we were like, this is kind of fun, but also like very strange.
Haven,
yeah.
They also made Fury. You remember the boss rush game,
yeah,
Furi?
right. Yeah.
And they're making this game, and Cairn is a rock climbing game, kind of like Jusant. Or I assume, Jusant was last year. It was a rock climbing game, but it looks like, the trailer is kind of this character trying to climb up like this big mountain. It looks like it might be kind of simulator-ish, like kind of quap-ish.
You can control like it's clear that you're controlling their legs in very specific ways,
right?
And yeah, it's got that kind of quap-ish like this. It's unnaturally moving.
Yeah,
but like it's clear that's because you're controlling the exact spots you want their legs to be on,
right?
And I think it's to have maximum grip,
yeah,
or else you just fall down. I don't know if that could be interesting, but I don't know. Like it depends on what your interest, what's actually going on in the game, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know. I did beat Jusant. Like I did actually end up playing all the way through it because it's only like 3 or 4 hours long.
Oh, okay.
But that game was more like Uncharted climbing, like finding the next thing and jumping to it, as opposed to, I don't know if I want to play getting up with Bennett Foddy with 4 limbs.
Yeah. Because the other thing about that one was like clearly like not a post-apocalypse, but like there's something had happened to wherever you were climbing.
There was a narrative draw.
Where this is like, I don't know what the narrative draw of is it so far, because it just looks like a person climbing a normal ass mountain so far.
They did show it a lot. They showed it a lot.
Yeah.
Let's see. Where are we at here? We have 20 games left to go.
Oh, my God.
And we've got 20 minutes to do it. 1 game a minute. Wander Stop. This is one that I really can't ever remember the name of it, but I really want to play this. This is from the creators of Stanley Parable and the Beginner's Guide, and I love those games so much. And so it's like a character that is working at like a cozy game tea shop, like helping out cute characters, and you're running the shop and you're doing the farming and then making the teas and you're decorating, but then at the end there's an implication that like there's like some PTSD going on with this character, or there's like a dark past that they are not over yet and that it haunts them. And I'm like, okay, that will make me play an ostensibly cozy game, because I was watching it and I was like, this just looks like a cozy game, man. I'm not into that.
You're like, this is just any one of these types of games. And then that happens.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
So.
You see those names and you're like, well, those names are like for very different types of games.
Right.
Like there's got to be something, and then it gives you the something. And I like its design quite a bit.
Yeah. It's very much like if you axed off like the back half of this, it could just be like a cozy game about a kind of a slightly tsundere protagonist working at a tea shop and learning about friendship or whatever. But like there's this one part where it's like, oh no, there's some dark in here.
No, it turns out it's like it's the equivalent of what if Rambo was working at a tea shop.
Right. So yeah. Also, God help me, like it's Annapurna, and I'm liking their game output.
I'm really happy with them lately.
Yeah,
they take risks.
Yes,
and I'm happy for them.
So yeah, I'm really interested. Wander Stop. It's not a great name, hard to remember,
but it's an interesting name at least.
Yeah. So yeah. From there we got Unknown 9 Awakening. I'm not going to say that much about this because we saw this before, where you're playing as like it looks like an Indian character lady, and it's like, but you're fighting like Nazis.
It's very weird.
It kind of like a globe-trotting adventure. She may not be Indian. I don't want that to come across like it just. and
she's definitely Southeast Asian.
There's another this is another taking control of people's bodies thing. Like the main mechanic seems to be that she has the ability to jump into other people's bodies to make them do stuff, as well as kicking a bunch of ass and stuff. But it's still very unclear to me what exactly this game is about.
Yeah.
But
it looks good.
I like the character designs. I like the premise is interesting so far. So I just would like to see a little bit more of it. Just like to see a little bit more of it. So put out a demo. They put out so many demos, but they didn't put out a demo for this.
Yeah. There's a good chunk of demos that were released during this whole thing.
Yeah. Wait. Oh, this is the wrong thing. Nope. That's okay. Is that where we're at? Yes. God, I had to pop John's bubble on this one. The trailer came out. They put out a big trailer for The First Descendant, which is this really cool looking game. It looks like a third-person action game set in the future with a bunch of mechs and jetpacks and cyber characters, and it's all on Unreal Engine 5, and they look amazing, and they're running around in this really highly detailed city. It's a 1 to 4 player PvE game.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, they did that trailer a while back for it.
Yeah,
and we were like, "What is this?" And then they were like, "Oh, by the way, it's this." And we're like, "Oh, I don't give a fuck now."
Yeah,
and then they showed off the trailer, and I forgot about it.
Yep,
and then I remembered, and then I was like, "Oh yeah."
Now I'm sad.
Yeah, now I'm sad again.
I don't know. The thing is, they show so much here that it makes you wonder, could this be the unicorn? Could this be you can play it by yourself or with your friends game that's actually good?
Maybe.
That has a narrative where you're like, oh, because there is a lot of character design and like world building and all kinds of stuff in this trailer. But then they tell you that it's, at the end there's a scene where there's a giant figure. There's 4 characters running at him with various weapons, and I'm just like, it's that. That's what it is. Actually,
it's this game, yeah. And it's just frustrating because you're like, and they're like, yeah, it's got a grappling hook. That was one of the things that they're saying.
Oh
about it.
Yeah.
Like, yes, the grappling hook. I've never seen that before.
Right.
I don't know. It could be good, but I don't know. I just don't know. It's hard to tell.
You're in the quarantine zone until you prove yourself, game.
Exactly. And unfortunately, there's too many of them that are doing that.
You know what game had a lot of good trailers too, Michael? Quantum Error.
Yeah. There's a lot of great trailers.
Which ended up being one of the most hilarious and fantastic videos that we've ever done. So
God, that was so funny.
Fucking game.
What a fucking game that was. Holy shit.
Let's see. From there, we got the announcement. I like this announcement quite a bit. Victoria Tran and Forrest Willard, who are the people who run Innersloth that makes Among Us,
yes,
announced they are going to be doing a publishing arm called Outer Sloth that's going to fund smaller games and help other people get out there. They've made so much money off of Among Us that they want to help other smaller developers get a leg up.
I'm so happy for them because Among Us had been out for a while.
Yep.
And then they just exploded, and they want to be able to let people have time to have that maybe happen to them.
Yes. They show a montage of the games that they're putting out. I can say a lot of them they're fine.
They're the exact type of indie games that need help.
Right.
Like they're not like nobody's lining up to give these people money.
Yeah. Some of these we're going to talk about later on. The one I think that really stood out to me was the last one. So it's called Project Dosa, and it's by the people that made Thirsty Suitors. And you're playing as you're driving this mech around to get ingredients to make meals for your family type of thing. So I don't know, maybe we'll see.
Yeah, that could be something. And it looked like it was another RPG again.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Hopefully that works out for them. We also got the trailer for the Among Us TV show with a very, very basic animation. I was like, this is an animation dream because they don't have faces and they don't have arms.
Yeah.
They got floating hands and just big television screen things for their face. So you can really spend your money on talent, and they sure did.
Yeah, they really did. And I think it looks like a lot of fun.
Just, Patton Oswalt, Elijah Wood, Phil Lamar, Wayne Knight's in there.
Wayne Knight's name in a while. I'm happy for that man.
Yeah.
He needs more stuff.
I don't know. I'm hoping this is one of those ones that works out because Among Us is such an open-ended thing that you could literally write a good story. Yeah. You don't have to hew to the story of Among Us. And then if you get a bunch of people with good comedic timing to do your episodes, that could be great.
It can be a fun time if given the right amount of work into it. And it looks like they're hoping that will happen.
Yeah. Let's see. From there... the trailer for Sonic X Shadow Generations.
Yeah, you Sonic people. I don't know. I'm happy for you, question mark. I don't know if you're happy or not with it.
Hey, here's what I'll say. This looks better than the Origins. Or no, Frontier?
Yeah, Frontier was the new one. It looks like an old one of their Sonic games that they used to make a lot before they did Frontier.
Yep.
Good for you guys.
I have no interest in anything except for that Sonic version with all the fucks in it. I want the
yeah, they need to bring back the fucks.
I need the R-rated Sonic. What was it for? Sonic Worlds
or for Shadow the Hedgehog?
Shadow the Hedgehog. Yeah, I need the R-rated Shadow the Hedgehog audio track, and then I will actually play your game, Sega. So
yeah, just put it in here.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that.
Yep, coming out October 25th. Yeah. We got a little bit more on the story behind Dune Awakening, the survival game.
I forgot that was happening.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting. The idea is like, in the narration for this, they're basically saying like, the whole idea here is Paul looking back through timelines. What if my mother had the daughter that she was supposed to have instead of me?
Oh, okay.
And so that's the setup for then like this kind of wrestling for control over the planet instead of
instead of him doing what he did.
Instead of Muad'Dib showing up and taking over the entire universe, you have more of a power struggle. So there's like a reason for characters to come to Dune and then struggle over the land. So this is so weird. I don't know. These survival games, I'm kind of 50-50 on. So
it's a time thing. And if you have time for it, you might have fun with it. But if not, I don't know. And there's also the worlds that they're built in as well. So I don't know.
Sometimes they're good. Sometimes I don't care. Let's see. Oh, God, right. Battle Aces. This had this fantastic anime trailer where people are flying around and they're shooting and they're fighting and they're fighting and they're shooting and they're shooting, and it's like an old school air combat anime. This is a like 2v2 RTS that is multiplayer and online only.
Yeah, I'm so sick of trailers making these really cool anime sequences of like, this looks awesome, and then they show the game and like, oh yeah.
The thing that's funny is one of the selling points for this is they're like, we want to reduce the number of clicks you have to do in an RTS, and I'm like, so you want to make an RTS that has even less interactivity than the current ones?
Yeah,
like,
basically. I was talking to my friend when they announced this, and he was like, I'm actually interested in this. I was like, you know what? I don't know enough about these types of games to care. So if you're interested in it, then they won, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. No, I don't know either. Not for old Jeff. I saw another video for this later. I tried it a second time. Not for me.
Yeah, I saw another trailer for it. Yeah.
The Finals has some new content. Remember that game that had the AI?
I do not remember this, to be honest.
It was the one where people blew up into coins, and they used like AI to do some of the audio in it.
Oh, doesn't ring a bell.
Yeah,
I remember the AI thing, but the actual game I don't even remember. I legitimately don't remember what the game was about.
I think I did a Patreon video for it with Tessa, maybe. I don't remember.
That sounds right.
But it's just an online first-person shooter, like online adversarial team shooter.
It's one of those many games that I just don't care about.
Yeah, I didn't give two shits about it, and I don't at this point. So.
No.
From there, we had this is probably the best surprise of E3 or of Summer Game Fest.
Yeah.
Sam Lake came bopping out to the song from Alan Wake 2. And he announced that the first DLC for Alan Wake 2 was going to be called Night Springs. It was going to be made of 3 episodes starring a bunch of the side characters, and it's out today. It's out later today.
I think they also announced the limited run. collector's edition?
Oh yes, also a physical edition of Alan Wake 2 to put on your shelf. Yep, which people are very, very excited for. The 3 episodes are great. Amanda and I already played all the way through all 3 of them.
Oh wow,
they're very short. They're like about 45 minutes apiece. One of them is Rose, the waitress, has to go on a rampage killing spree to get her favorite boyfriend, stalker, obsession, Alan Wake back. One is called Time Breaker, that is literally Tim Breaker playing the character that he's like on a set with Sam Lake, not Alex Casey, but Sam Lake filming a video game and then gets sucked into a bunch of alternate realities. And then the third one is called God, I just put a thing up for it today. It's Jesse Faden rescuing her brother in a different time, a different reality where her brother was trapped in Bright Falls and not
that's fun,
taken by the FBC. So it's fucking crazy. The Rose one, you know what I like about it, Michael? All 3 of these DLCs, they give you a shitload of ammo, and every health item fully heals you, and it's just like, go to town, baby. Like fucking kick all the ass.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was very happy that Alan Wake 2 got more stuff going on with it,
as well as the physical editions are great. So they're putting out an expansion for New World. Remember that MMO called New World Eternum?
I forgot that was still a thing.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
Did they ever fix their economy?
I don't know, because nobody cares. I don't know. It's an MMO in fucking 2024. Some people, I guess, want that. I couldn't, for the life of me, make myself care about this from the first day I saw it, and I don't care about it now. I
generally don't care.
Honkai Star Rail has more something. I forgot.
Just more of it. More of the game, really.
There's a big update. There's a big update for Honkai Star Rail.
People like this game. I'm happy for them.
I didn't dislike it when we played it. I just never went back to it. So I'm gonna save it for Zenless Zone Zero. That's gonna be the one that I try to get into.
No, my friend really likes this game, and he says the story is actually not bad.
Yeah. I see a lot of people online talking about it. So. Yeah, good for you. Good for everybody. It's coming out June 19th, so it'll almost be out by the time this comes out. Dark and Darker, that Iron Mace game with the whole Nexon thing is like a thing. They showed this trailer for it. We're almost at the end of the PC game show, and I was just like...
Or the Game Fest.
Game Fest. And I was like... Her?
Yeah.
Like
that was my reaction too.
This is what all the hubbub has been about. This looks like garbage, man.
It looks generic, and it looks like it looks like it was made 15 years ago.
Right.
Minimum.
The animations are terrible. The graphics look like they came from the Unreal store.
Yeah, people were fighting to the death over this game.
Yeah.
Basically, and you're like, oh, this was made in the early 2000s. That's what this looks like. It reminds me of Might and Magic from like that long ago.
I mean, it might be fun to play, but like it doesn't make a good impression.
Not really, especially nowadays.
It looks like, man, if I wanted to play a mediocre Skyrim ripoff, I would go play Avowed, you guys. Like
exactly.
And part of it is probably just that it's like up to 4-player co-op.
Oh, that's true. I didn't think about that. Yeah.
And so that might be something that's different. Like if you could play Skyrim with 4 people and you had a game that was built to like let you do that. Sure, but other than that, I don't know. It just doesn't.
It was you're like her. This is what you decided to put on there. But they paid for it. They to be on Summer Game Fest, you actually have to pay for it.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Hyperlight Breaker got a trailer. We're not going to talk too much about this because it's just more of that game. Third person roguelike, full campaign. It's got co-op. It's from Hyperlight Drifter folks. Sure. Yeah. I don't know what else to say about this one.
It looks like that game that we've seen much of already.
So I was very, very happy that we got this M Corp trailer with Tim Robbins Robinson from I Think You Should Leave. And then I was so sad that it was for Skate.
Yeah, it turns out it was just a Skate trailer. But if you like Skate, that's very exciting.
I love this. He's doing this bit about how like everything is fine at the company and nobody needs to worry about anything. And behind him, people are like shredding stuff and like beating each other up. And he's just doing his whole shtick, like trying to be like, no, it's fine. You know, we're just doing our thing. And like people are crying and stuff. And I love it. I loved it so much. I was
great, like a little sick sequence.
This is wonderful. I mean, like, you know, don't get me wrong. I don't think that Skate looks bad. It's just it's Skate, not like.
Yeah, I'm very excited for everybody who's been wanting. Who's been wanting more Skate for a very long time.
Yeah, it's also multiplayer.
Yes, it's a big multiplayer world of Skate.
It's a big multiplayer.
So happy for you? Question mark.
Yeah.
But I guess they're using Tim now instead of Jason Lee for their stuff, so that's interesting. Also, it turns out Tim is actually a really good skater. It turns out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because that was how I found out that he was. Because somebody's like, it's another one of those instances where it turns out this guy is actually a really good skater, and it's like images of him like doing a bunch of tricks and shit. I'm like, oh, good for him.
Okay, Power World's getting another update. I'm not really talk very much about that. It's just another, you know, new areas, new pals, new island, new stuff. It's more Power World. Yeah. Power World looks great. Glad they're still doing it. Yeah. So, then we have what I perceived as like 20 minutes of Valorant. Valorant's coming to consoles.
Yeah.
Valorant. Here's some Valorant. Look at this gameplay for Valorant.
If you like Valorant, then you like Valorant. That's all I can say about it.
You know what? Okay, you know what? I will say this. Michael, I will try Valorant on consoles. I didn't want to play it on PC.
That's fair, actually.
Like, because I want to be playing against other people using a gamepad.
Yeah.
I'm not good enough to play it against mouse and keyboard. I do like the game style, but I stopped playing Counter-Strike a long time ago. But I might be able to play it. Might be able to keep up with people that are using a controller. So
that's true.
Yeah. Brief Inside Out 2 movie trailer.
Yeah, it just shows off a fake game character in the movie,
right?
And he's honestly, his scene isn't that much longer than the clip they showed. To be honest,
yeah.
But I liked the fact that they made this PS2 looking RPG character,
right?
And the plot is that like she had a crush on him, and he's in her suppressed memories because she's trying to not admit that she had a crush on the video game character.
I'm happy.
Who had a very terrible super move, as it turns out.
He was is a YouTuber that became a voice actor. Yeah. Everybody hated his voice for Kiryu, including me.
That's true. I forgot about that.
I think that from what I saw in that trailer, it looks fine. It looks fine for that character.
And listen to my review for it on One of Us.
Yeah. Oh god, I skipped over that whole what was that mobile game trailer that had like Will Arnett and Chris Hemsworth and shit. Like
I don't even remember what it was for anymore.
What? Christina Ricci, and it went on for like 8 minutes, and I was like, what is happening?
It was like a Clash of Clans type thing.
One of those. Anyway, let's skip that bullshit and get through the rest of this bullshit. Monster Hunter Wilds, we had a brief interview with the developer. I think they showed off a little bit more of it.
Yes.
There was a trailer. I'm still very much on the fence. I realize that like this is more like Monster Hunter Worlds, and I keep thinking, well, I don't like Monster Hunter Worlds, and I was like, no, I didn't really understand Monster Hunter when I played Worlds, so it's possible that I might enjoy this. As a longtime Monster Hunter fan, what's your anything changing your mind here? Or
well, it's just I was going to play it anyways. I love Monster Hunter in general. It looks like they took some of the lessons they took off of the Rise, I think it was the last one, right?
Yes.
And they added it to it, like rideable mounts and stuff like that, because that wasn't a thing in World, which is why I think you probably weren't as excited or as into the way World was, is that you had to walk everywhere. And so there's a lot of cool stuff going on with it, but you know, it's more Monster Hunter World fused with Rise,
right?
And that's what makes me interested in it, because I did really like World. I just hope that the weapons have the fantastical things that were going on that Rise was letting you keep, because my issue with World was everything looked the same, except that there was like a part of the animal maybe like attached to it at most. And I was like, that was my biggest issue with that one. So I'm hoping that this gets more of that fun roots to it, if that makes sense.
I was talking with somebody when I was watching this, somebody was near me and they were like, Monster Hunter has guns? And I'm like, oh yeah, man, Monster Hunter's got all kinds of shit. Like
they've always had guns, but whether or not you were good with them is what it came down to.
I do like the fact that the more I see of it, the more different colors I'm seeing. That first trailer was so monochrome.
Yes.
Like I love that I'm seeing these kind of different areas, different colors and stuff. I don't know. I'll be interested to see. Honestly, I'm such a fucking sucker for Japanese themed stuff that I think that's what really got me into Rise was the kind of the theming on it. But we'll see if it carries over into Wilds now that I kind of know what the gameplay loop is. Maybe it'll hook me better than the other one. So
I'm looking forward to it.
And then last but not least, boy, you talk about I don't know if this is Chinese or not, but they ended the show with this Phantom Blade Zero world premiere trailer, which is another like kind of Soulsy third person Japanese themed semi horror kind of action game. And like if you told me this was Neo 3, I would believe you, and then if you told me this was that other game that we talked about before, I would also believe you. Like,
yeah, that's pretty much exactly my thoughts on it.
Nothing really none of these games stand out in a way that makes them no, I know what this one looks a lot more like Sekiro. The way that the gameplay goes, it looks a little bit more like a Sekiro, where you have this one bar down at the bottom that doesn't seem like it's a stamina bar, it seems like a defense bar.
It's got some cool animations for the movements, but the game itself doesn't. I'm not that. I don't really care, to be honest. That sounds bad, but like I'm sure some people are interested in what it is, but they're blending in together now.
Yeah, there's too many of them where they're starting to ooze together. It's like what last year or the year before, where the Cozy game show was like 90% farming sims.
Yes.
And you're just like, I don't care, okay? Like, I just give me something that's not this.
Yeah. I remember Nintendo did a direct where that happened too at one
point. Right. More slitter heads, more, I don't know. So this is a really weird show. I mean, Jeff Keighley said at the beginning, like, don't get too excited. Like, we're not going to be trotting out as much stuff this year. It's a slower year.
I think also it's because since the Summer Game Fest you have to pay for still.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of them are just like, well, I'm just going to show my stuff off of my own thing now.
Right.
And the people who did give them something gave them like the smallest amount in there. So
yeah. Okay. Well, that's part 2. Part 3 is hour-long segments.
That's good. Yeah, this is a long podcast.
Part 3 is going to be Devolver Digital, Ubisoft, and then as many of the rest as we can fit in.
Yeah.
There's no way to fit them all in. I've got a huge list, and a lot of them are probably just going to be me listing off stuff that I think you, the listener, should go take a look at. Oh, you know what? We'll definitely throw that Dragon Age in there because I want to complain about that for 5 minutes. So
okay.
We'll see you in a minute. We'll be back from part 3. Bye, everybody. Wait, I mean, come back. Just stick around. Don't go anywhere. Just stay here, and I'll be back in a minute. And we're back. And we're going to move on to Devolver. Devolver should go pretty quick.
Yes.
Devolver's like framing device this year was not my favorite.
It was not very interesting, unfortunately.
Yeah, I just didn't care for it as much. So
like the premise was there, but they didn't do anything with it.
They didn't have any merch.
Yeah.
Like they didn't have anything specific that they were.
It was very disappointing.
So anyway, but they had some trailers, and a few of them were really good. Some of them were just stuff that we kind of already knew about or expansions. They started with Cult of the Lamb, the Unholy Alliance update. This is basically a co-op update that's adding another playable character, this goat, that you can now play Cult of the Lamb co-op with your friends. So there's not really very much more to it than that. I'm not the biggest Cult of the Lamb guy, so but people that like that game seem to really like it.
Yes.
So good for them.
I'm very happy for them.
Next, we got the Crush House. We're not going to talk too much about that because I've already talked about it. And we've got a Patreon video that John and I did on the demo. This is you're playing as like a camera person on a reality TV show. But there's also something like dark going on behind the scenes. I have to say, this game is way better than I thought it was going to be. I recommend everybody go check out the demo. The weird things that people say to each other in this are way more raw than I thought they were going to be. Like, I had a character where literally, I mean, because they talk like Simlish, and a little like thing comes up, but the guy was like, I want to fuck right now. And I was like, whoa. So, I think that there's some question. This one's going to live or die based on how entertaining it is.
Yeah.
And it was really entertaining. So
I hope everybody else finds it streamable.
Yeah. It looks really good. I can't wait to see more of it once it finally comes out. Let's see. We got the trailer for Tenjutsu. This was this is okay, so I don't remember this. Dead Cells split into several parts. The Evil Empire went to go make the Rogue Prince of Persia. The original Dead Cells team, Motion Twin, I think.
Something like that.
They're making Windblown, one with the little axolotl guys. Yeah. And then I think the main guy that made Dead Cells originally, he split off from them, and this is his game called Tenjutsu. I think that's what it is.
This is another example of people being like, "This is a really cool anime trailer,"
right?
And then the game, got shown. Some people were disappointed. I was interested.
I'm interested because it's got this very like '90s anime trailer, and then when it shows the game, it's like a little like kind of pixel, like kind of fights in a small room type of thing, kind of Hotline Miami, but like isometric. This was also based on a 48-hour game jam. I found the itch.io version of it, and then it's being expanded. So
it looks like a lot of fun, to be honest.
The animation is very smooth, like it's very smooth and cool looking. So I don't know. I'm super duper into it. Really interested. I'd like to see more. Talos Principle 2 as an expansion. I think we already knew this was happening, or I already knew this was happening because they put out like a teaser on their Twitter.
Oh, okay.
That showed a bunch of new areas, and it was like, okay, so you guys are doing DLC. I don't really understand the Talos Principle very much. You and I played Talos Principle 2, I think, and it was like robots doing laser puzzles, and I don't understand the rest of it. So
like I'm sure there's something interesting about it, but we didn't really care all that much.
Wait, was that the one where we got to the end of it and they were like, "We need you to go do the thing"? And we were like, "No," and then it was like, "Okay," and that's the end of the game.
Yeah, that was the one that we did that because there's a whole plot that we were like, we don't want to do the plot, and the game's like, "Cool, the end."
Yeah,
I was like, "Sweet." It was like full playthrough.
There are 3 DLCs, I guess, that are coming out for this. Each that has kind of a different thing. There's one that's like a gigantic open air block that is all one puzzle that kind of has little segments into it.
Oh, okay.
That's kind of cool. But other than that, I don't know. Wrong podcast to hear more about Talos Principle.
Yes.
On the other hand, it's the right one to hear about Angerfoot. I'm so into Angerfoot, and I've been waiting for so long to hear about when it's coming out. They haven't shown it since they originally announced it.
Yeah, it was crazy how long it's been.
And it's coming out July 11th. I'm so happy.
That is pretty soon, actually.
Fucking happy. It's like next month, man. Like, I'm like, yeah. They show in this trailer like different shoes that do different things. Like,
that's fun.
The different shoes will give you like fire effects or like kicking through the air or just like flying around and going crazy. Floaties that make everything that you kick float. I'm just like, this is great. Oh, and the uppercutters where your foot is an uppercut. You're just kicking uppercuts. I'm like, no, this game gets me, man. This game is my spirit animal, and I want to play it so bad.
It's very exciting. Yeah, and they had, one demo, I think, was all that was out for a long time?
Yep, they had that one demo. It was an amazing demo. Man and I played it. It was an amazing demo, and I fucking loved it. July 11th. It's coming out. Free lives. Can't wait.
Very exciting.
And then this was like the last thing they showed in the thing proper. So this is from the creator of Hyperlight and Solar Ash. It's called Possessors.
Okay.
And it's like a side-scrolling action game. And it looks really striking. It's got this kind of neon-soaked world, and then this kind of like hand-animated main character. It's just dripping with like style.
Yeah.
A lot of like bright kind of good use of colors. The combat looks very snappy. Everything about this screams, yes, I would like to play this game very much. Thank you very much. I don't know. Do you haven't seen any of these? Have you?
I saw some of them. I didn't see this one. Because some of them I just saw in general, like in passing, because somebody would post it.
Yeah.
And so I ended up watching. I saw the Angerfoot one. I saw the Genjutsu or Jinjutsu one.
Oh, Tenjutsu. Yeah.
But I didn't see this one. It looks great. Yeah, it is very striking. It's got similar art styles to like it's the example that I was telling you about, like the difference between the cozy art style and this version.
Right.
It's like this uses the difference in colors and everything and the darkness to make a really cool striking thing. But the other one is just everything is a primary bright cozy look.
This has a lot more contrasting, like colors to it to make things really oomph out at you.
Exactly, and so that's what I meant, like the differences between the two.
Okay,
so it's a great like way of being like if you put them side by side, you would see exactly what I mean, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it looks absolutely fantastic, and can't wait to check it out. There were a couple of other things. I don't know where these factored in, but in the game, oh, okay. This Neva, we already were just talking about that. So
yeah, we just saw that one. Yeah, exactly. This is the one I was talking about. Side by side, you can tell exactly what I'm talking about.
And then this is another one that showed up in some of the indie stuff called Sumerian 6.
Yes.
Looks pretty good. It's like a team of like Indiana Jones adventurers, and there's like some weird Nazi coded guys, but it's like it's like a me game, like Desperados or Shadow Tactics, where you have a team of guys and you're kind of setting up situations to do stuff.
Like it reminded me of that one that we played of like it was an adventure kind of team as well, and it's pretty much the exact thing. But it looks like a lot of fun though.
Oh yeah, the Lamplighters Guild.
Yeah, the Lamplighters Guild one.
Yeah, it does kind of remind me of that. It does though make me sad that Me doesn't make games anymore, because if this was a Me game, I'd be like, shut up and take my money.
Oh yeah.
Whereas here I'm like, it looks okay.
It's got a great premise. Is really what it comes down to.
There's a bear man. There's a werebear.
Yeah.
There's the werebear fuck party. So. Yeah, kind of. What was that Rebellion game that they had? Strange something where you were like in the Egyptian tombs with the raiders and stuff.
I don't remember the name, but I just remember calling it the Mummy one.
Strange something. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that too.
That one didn't last very long, I feel.
And that was Devolver. No merch, no posters.
Nothing really all that interesting.
Okay, happy birthday, Volvy. All right. Ubisoft time.
Yes.
Ubisoft started out with Star Wars Outlaws. Michael,
it looks great.
They're making me excited. I don't like to be excited. I like to maintain a cool indifference so that my heart doesn't get broken when the thing turns out to be bad. But goddamn,
that is the tricky part.
This looks great, and I want to play it so bad. It's got spaceships. It's got fucking stealth. It's got a little axolotl pal. It doesn't have Jedis in it. It looks like crime, and
it's the type of Star Wars game we've been wanting for a long time.
Yep.
It's just surprising that Ubisoft's the one giving it to us.
Yes, absolutely.
It just makes me more mad at EA. To be honest,
what's funny about it is that a lot of the stuff that's going on in here is kind of like an Assassin's Creed game. You're setting up stealth opportunities and doing stuff, and I'm like, yeah, but it's Star Wars, man.
Yeah, it's fun Star Warsy stuff.
I just love everything that I'm seeing about it. Like,
also, there's a lot of stuff about like your choices matter when it comes to like who's after you, who's not after you, the jobs you get, and I think that's a really cool concept.
That you can have branching storylines. I like the fact that we've seen at least some of the Empire involved with the Empire. I do like this. It's kind of like Indiana Jones. Hijacking like a shipment, and I love the grubby underworld. I'm not the biggest fan of the fact that Tatooine is one of the planets they have, but they've got a lot more.
The thing about Tatooine is it's full of all the greatest scum and villainy you'll ever find,
right?
And a werewolf buck party.
Also, the game appears to have like cocaine mode as well as like mark and execute from Red Dead 1 in it, and I'm like, well, I want to do that.
I want all of those things.
I want to go to there. It's like a Western. You've even got your little speeder bike that's like a little horse that you get to drive around. The graphics, I think, all look great. The frame rate is a little choppy on these trailers, but I'm not sure if that's like...
Well, it is mentioning that, this is technically still in development. Because it comes out at the end of the year, right?
Yes. I don't remember the exact date, but yes,
sure it's like
October or something like that. I don't know, man. Everything about this looks really good. Like I was saying in the Discord, it's like oh, this, you could compare this to Starfield in that you get to fly around, you get to have space battles, you get to do stuff. I'm like, yeah, but it's Star Wars.
Yeah, but there's also like interesting things going on in its world.
Yeah.
And that's why I find it more interesting than Starfield.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everybody moves like a normal person.
Yep.
There's a lot going on that really makes me excited.
I love all the space combat stuff. Like, the space combat looks good, looks fun.
We need more Star Wars games like this, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't know. They had a little they had a little gameplay section where you're trying to find like an expert to teach you new like pistol skills. And so there's kind of this whole investigate and go to different places. And there was one point where you were like, the fast travel transition was the Star Wars wipe to the other side of the screen. It was on Tatooine, so then it was like nighttime where you could see, or is it sunset where you could see the two sunsetting like in A New Hope. And I'm just like, God, fuck you.
Yeah.
This shouldn't work on me anymore. God damn it.
Still does. That's the surprising thing. Well, it's just that it makes me more, like I said, more annoyed with EA because they had that Star Wars license
for years,
and you're like, you just did nothing with it.
You did nothing.
And the second you couldn't do it anymore, people make interesting things. And I'm like, come on, guys, this is what we want from Star Wars.
Yep. I love the fact that the space combat looks kind of it looks a little bit like what was that, what was the space combat one? The EA put out a few years ago.
I think it's called Fighters.
Squadrons?
Oh, Squadrons. Yeah,
Star Wars Squadrons. Not exactly like that, but I don't know. Just I've flown by that ship in TIE Fighter before. Like, it's just there's something very, and I try really hard not to get into this shit, but there's something very comforting about seeing something that looks like a well-made video game that then also has all the trappings of this franchise that I still like. I'm not watching The Acolyte, but I'll play this game.
Yeah. It's the part of the world that I always found interesting that I wanted more games of, and they weren't making them for some reason.
Yep. They just didn't want to. They were like, you guys want Jedis and online multiplayer games, right? And I'm like, no.
Like, I'm always surprised they didn't just make a Han Solo game that was just this.
Right.
Like, I'm shocked that that's not a thing.
You know what? I am almost positive that this started as a Han Solo game.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Based on the fact that we've seen Lando and Jabba in the trailers. Kay Vess's outfit looks like, I wish Kay Vess had a different outfit because her outfit looks like Han Solo knockoff cosplay that's meant to make me think of Han Solo, and I'm just like, stop it. Stop it, you asses.
They all dress like that, Jeff. If you're a smuggler, you have to wear the weird jackets.
Or the weird hat that the bounty hunters wear.
Yeah, there's that too, yeah.
Anyway, man, I don't know. I want to play it. I want to play it real bad. It looks great. I really, really, really want to play it. I don't know what else to say. I wish that I could... the only complaint that I've seen anybody level against this is that weird you're talking about the people who quote unquote fix Aloy.
Yeah.
There's people online who think that the KVS looks like a big Uggo, and I'm like, I don't get you guys.
Yeah, he does have weird taste in things.
I think she looks fine,
she
but
also just looks like a person that makes sense for this sort of idea.
Yeah. August 30th is when it come out. Hey, everybody, remember, this is included in everything we're going to talk about is included in Ubisoft Plus, which is like $10 a month. It's like their Game Pass. You can get that for this and play it 3 days early with all of the extended content. Like, you don't have to spend $70 on the game. You can spend $9 on like the 1 month and play this whole thing.
I'm always surprised that Ubisoft is the only other one who figured that out.
Yeah. I'm surprised they still let you do it, considering how little money they have.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, now this conference goes into high speed. Are you ready, everybody? Hold on to your butts.
We're turning on the hyperdrive.
Yep. It's, covering a Ubisoft conference ain't like Dustin Crops, kid. X Defiant is getting GSK faction from Rainbow Six Siege. Does anybody care? No, I didn't think so. Yeah. Skull and Bones is getting a new season and a PvP update. You're getting a bunch of Asian ships, and also you can do races, and there's some new story content. And is anybody playing Skull and Bones?
Yeah, I was like, it didn't die immediately. That's the surprise.
No? I didn't think so. Oh, no, I don't think they can. Well, also, I want to point this out. Once you have something like this up, it takes a very small team to keep it up.
That's true.
So, like, this will probably they put out a trailer for the new For Honor season. It's like year 8, season 24 or something like that. Like, it does not take much to keep these games going once they're up. So, especially if you have a dedicated fan base. Anyway, is anybody playing Skull and Bones?
I was about to say, do they have a dedicated fan base?
No? Oh, okay, cool. All right, let's move on. Okay, we'll slow down a little bit, even though this is a very small announcement. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown is getting a story DLC. It's actually getting a few different DLCs. There's getting a bunch of trials that you can do for additional stuff, combat challenges and stuff. And then it's getting a full-on story DLC later this year called, what is it called?
I forgot. It's going to mention it here.
Mask of Darkness, and it comes out in September.
I did like the presentation of them showing off the trailers, though, because it would be like them essentially getting assaulted by their own trailer.
Oh, yes, yes.
I was like, that's fun.
I still need to go back and finish Lost Crown. I liked what I played of it. I just I didn't keep playing it. So
maybe I'll play it one of these days.
The Rogue Prince of Persia is getting an update, the Temple of Fire update. I think it's a new biome and some new weapons and mobs and stuff.
No.
This is in early access, so yes, I mean, it's definitely going to be getting new stuff. I don't know that the Rogue Prince of Persia is going to end up having the success that I think it's probably going to be successful in a Dead Cells way, but not in a Ubisoft wants kind of way.
No,
so
absolutely not. Not because it's not a good game, but I think it's because of the fact that it is a Rogue Prince of Persia game.
Yes,
is a hard sell for a lot of people because rogue like games are hard to sell in general. Also,
this team is not known for making easy, friendly games to play.
No. well, especially because there's this, and then there's a whole other Prince of Persia game right now.
Yes,
that has that you don't have to worry about it being Rogue. So,
and then hey, what about that Sands of Time remake? They were like, "Oh, we're gonna give you a short teaser for Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time." My prediction came true. 3 Prince of Persia games in one Ubisoft thing. This was nothing.
It was a nothing trailer.
This was nothing. The camera pans down to a candle. The candle reverses in time and goes up. That is all.
It's coming out in 2026.
Nothing. I don't believe you.
This game was supposed to be out 3 years ago.
I don't believe you. I don't understand why it's taking this long to remake this game. It's already done.
Yeah.
You know what the levels look like. You know what the characters look like. I don't understand. I know that game development is more complicated than what I just said, but it's been a long ass time, and you now have 2 studios working on this. I
still can't believe this game. Oh my.
Also, by the way,
there's no new trailer. This is the trailer.
Yeah,
it's 30 seconds of a candle.
Yep, it's nothing.
Oh my god.
Oh, also, by the way, if you were expecting Beyond Good and Evil 2 or the Splinter Cell remake, get that shit out of your head. It's not here.
You're gonna hear about it 10 years from now, probably.
Yep. But hey, what about the Avatar game, Michael? The Avatar game.
That did happen.
They're putting out the Skybreaker story pack trailer. Is anybody playing the Avatar game? Is anybody? I think some people are playing the Avatar game.
That's the thing. There are people playing this game. The problem is that I don't think it did very well. It's a game that came. It's the same issue I have with the movies, is that it comes out. People talk about it for a second, and then no one talks about it again until something new Avatar-related comes out.
I think if you're into the world of Pandora, that this game is probably for you, and you're super happy to have it, and I'm super happy that you got it. It is not for me. I do not give 2 shits about Pandora.
Yeah.
I don't care about the Na'vi and their struggle against the Colonial Space Marines or whoever those guys are, or the corporations or whatever's happening.
You got new DLC. Good for you guys.
New DLC coming later this year. Wait, what is July 16th?
I really wonder if this game even sold well enough for them.
So I think by the time you hear this, it'll be out.
No, that's July.
Oh, July 16th.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I was like, do you have some time travel stuff going on with this?
Shh, don't quit outing my time travel.
Turns out this podcast will come out on July 17th.
The Crew Motorfest has some new chase squad.
Yeah.
Fucking what? It's a new season. Some new thing where you're chasing. This is like a dog.
Yeah, dog cars.
This is dog cars. You're chasing a bone. Who gives? Oh, fucking never mind. I don't care. Anno Anno 117, Pax Romana.
I have no idea what to say about this, to be honest.
There's a guy, he's talking about Rome or something.
It's built in a day or whatever.
I don't...
or not built in a day.
It was not built in a day.
I don't know enough about Rome.
I don't... I know these games have audiences, but they're small audiences, and these are not like, this is like, you remember back when we had E3 and EA would come out and they'd be like, here's some Star Wars. You'd be like, ooh, is it going to be good? And they're like, no. I'm like, okay, well, I'll watch it anyway. And then they're like, okay, now let's do the sports for like 25 minutes. And you're just like, nope, don't care.
We brought back John Madden's corpse to talk about Madden for like 20 minutes.
Apologies to everyone because I don't care about any of this stuff. For Honor, Year 8, Season 2, the Muramasa Blade. Why is this not Assassin's Creed tie-in?
I don't know.
Why is this not a skin, a Yasuke skin for Honor? Why is there a different samurai in For Honor than in Assassin's Creed? I don't know.
Sure, I guess.
Happy for all you For Honor people. Is anybody playing it? No? Okay, let's move on. Battlecore Arena is this year's Roller Champions, or what was their Battle Royale game where you were in a computer? That it was horrible and I didn't like it.
It didn't last long. That's the reason I don't remember the name of it.
This is another esports thing. It's fucking multiplayer Marble Madness meets action.
Yeah. Whatever floats their boat, I guess.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't care about this at all.
Sure.
It's so dumb.
Oh, they privated the video for Monopoly. They're making a Monopoly game.
They put Monopoly in a Monopoly?
They put Monopoly. They have a Monopoly. There's a Monopoly game from Ubisoft. It was a whole thing.
Monopoly.
It's Monopoly.
Yeah, you want to play Monopoly on a new board? The weird thing is people like watching streamers play Monopoly. I don't understand it.
I don't understand playing...
Game Grumps has made so many episodes of them playing Monopoly.
I don't understand playing Monopoly. Monopoly was like made to be horrible.
Yes.
Like you're not supposed to enjoy it. It's like a critique of capitalism.
It was literally designed to be like, capitalism is dumb.
Yeah.
And then somebody's like, let's make money off of this.
Yep.
And thus proving that capitalism is dumb.
They've never stopped.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, we got our extended gameplay walkthrough for Assassin's Creed Shadows. Guys, I swear to God, you know what? We're gonna go do the PC gaming show and some other stuff. I'm sorry for all this like sighing that I'm doing.
But no, we're sighing because Ubisoft hasn't been the crown jewel it used to be for a very long time.
Yeah,
the same with Assassin's Creed in general.
I keep waiting for something about this game to make me excited, and I'm not seeing it here.
Yeah, it doesn't click for me, and it still hasn't.
I did think while I was watching this, I was like, they really make the primary weapon for the Black Samurai a giant baseball bat, Michael?
Well, that's not his primary weapon. It's just a weapon.
They show him walking through a village. It's a very nice village. Everybody's bowing to him, and then some samurai. Oh, he pets a dog. He pets Doge, Shiba Inu, and
10
then
out of 10.
Then he sees some evil samurais that are hassling some lady, and he's got to get involved, and he murders all of them. And I'd rather be replaying Ghost of Tsushima.
That's really the case with this, is that Ghost of Tsushima does all of these things much more interesting to me.
Yeah.
And even its combat seems much more interesting to me for Ghost of Tsushima.
I don't know. He did have the little red dot on him that was an indication of you can't parry this. So maybe they're going more. I didn't play Mirage because it was like it looked so bad. I did want to play it. I was like, this looks terrible. I don't understand why nobody is talking about how this actually looks like a PS3 game, not like the meme of like this looks like a PS3 game.
Yeah, it actually did. Yeah, my issues with Assassin's Creed is that Assassin's Creed hasn't been interesting to me, mostly because its story doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have an overarching reason to play every Assassin's Creed game that came out.
Yeah.
And the few things that it keeps, it doesn't blend together correctly.
Yeah.
And so, like, you can ask any Assassin's Creed fan, you're like, so what is the story of Assassin's Creed anymore? They're like, well, the story is you do an assassin in that time period, and then there's a story for them. I'm like, yeah, but what is the point of playing them all? And they don't have an answer because it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, this also seems like it's less of an assassin story and more of like just a revenge, generic samurai Edo period in Japan, whatever. I don't think it's the actual Edo period, but
I don't know what the period is.
just I don't know. There's been a lot of games that are kind of like this, and this one isn't standing out to me any more than any of the other ones. I'm sure that if people are into Assassin's Creed, I don't know. I hope that I'm wrong. I don't want to not like this. I want to like this.
No, I desperately want to like this. The problem is everybody was asking for a game in this time period so long ago that by the time they finally did it, nobody cared anymore.
Right. Well, especially because it goes to Tsushima. Right.
Well, that's the main reason, or it's definitely the main reason now, because there are multiple games in this time period, or not. Probably there's not just this time period in general, but like within Japan, that lets you do so many cooler things that this game already is behind, and that's the reason why it's a pain.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope I'm wrong, and that it turns out to be my game of the year, because it
might be just by default because nothing's coming out. Unfortunately,
I don't know, man. Pacific Drive was pretty fucking hot.
That's
true. I don't know. And then we have the assassin part that is very just like, there's nothing different here. It's just very rote. You know, you're going through the grass, you're climbing along the top, you're silently taking people out. Yeah, I just don't have very much to say about this game. Like, it looks very much like a bunch of other games that I've already played, and I'm not finding a good reason why it's, oh my God, it's the thing. It's the thing I want real bad. Like, I don't know.
I'm sure it's going to be fine. I hope it's not as long as Valhalla was, because that was the issue. Valhalla was it was overly long with not enough going on in it.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping for the Assassin's Creed fans that they actually do like the game.
It does look like it looks better. It looks like it's on a different engine than Mirage. So that's what I'm hoping for, because Mirage was so ugly that I didn't want to play it.
That's fair. Yeah.
I mean, it was like I got a standard for video games, and one of those is graphics. And if you're not doing graphics, you better be doing something else. And I didn't feel like I was doing anything else. So, yeah. And that was Ubisoft. So, we did Ubisoft in like 20 minutes. So it was just like,
that's honestly, that's longer than I thought we would have done.
A lot of complaining about Assassin's Creed.
Anyway, play Ghost of Tsushima.
Play Ghost of Tsushima. Also, like, I really want to play Star Wars Outlaws. I really do want to play Star Wars Outlaws.
That was the only thing worth it in that entire conference.
Yes. So, let's see. From there, let's do. No, God damn it! It keeps auto playing. Okay, we talked about Dragon Age. They put out a 20-minute gameplay demo for Dragon Age: The Veilguard. Swear to God, there's games I like. I don't fucking hate all
they
video
make games that we like. I don't think BioWare's made one that we've liked in a very long time.
Well, hey, you know what? No, but this is the thing. I'm the guy that liked Anthem. I played all the way to the end of Anthem, and I liked it. I was like,
So anyway, they didn't made any good games in a long time.
I haven't been the biggest fan of the Dragon Age franchise. I will say, whatever engine they're using, it looks very nice.
Yes,
like, it's very nice pretty. Looking. The characters are nice and detailed.
Although the rain is very awkward looking there.
Yeah. What I don't understand about this trailer is it is obviously at the very, very beginning of the game.
Yeah.
Because the main character, when they get to the combat, like, all the cutscene stuff is fine. The characters look good. The environments look good. I like the fact that they've kind of got this like techno magic thing going on with this giant floating castle that's like opening these rifts and these demons are coming out. All that stuff looks great. What I don't understand is why they made this trailer at level 1. Like, the character has like what looks like a dodge, like a light attack, a heavy attack, a ranged attack, and then like one special power, one rogue power, special power that like charges up that they can use every so often, which makes it really boring to watch because you just hack. I
think I have the answer, but it's the dumb answer.
Yeah.
I don't think they actually have made that far.
Well,
I think they're still working out exactly some of the stuff that's going on in it, and this is probably the only thing that's like completely done that they're willing to show at the moment.
Maybe. I mean, the thing is that it doesn't give off a good impression. Like even that Assassin's Creed trailer, like we didn't talk about it, but mechanically there was like, there's a bunch of buttons on the bottom of the screen where the guy could pull off stuff. We saw that one part where he chops that guy's head off in like black and white. That was cool, right? But this is like, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like it's all that fun.
It also doesn't feel that Dragon Age-y, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I was hoping it wasn't going to feel Dragon Age because I don't like the way Dragon Age feels. But
that was the thing. I was just going to say, like, it's not impressing you, but think about the people that actually like Dragon Age.
Sure.
Like, what are their thoughts on this?
Also, I really don't like this in this trailer. Every time they kill somebody, it's like, oh, you got 10 experience points, and the smallest amount of that bar to the next level fills up. A tiny, minuscule amount comes in there. I don't know if they just have that nerfed for the trailer.
It might just be the trailer.
So they don't accidentally level up. But if they were going to accidentally level up, I wish they would have done that and show me what the skill tree looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe they just didn't have very much done, and so they just showed off what they had. It's not bad. It's not the worst looking thing I've ever seen. It's just it's not distinguishing itself.
Yeah.
It looks like a kind of a generic. It looks like Kingdoms of Amalur 3 or Guild Wars 3 or something. Like, I don't know.
I don't know. I haven't been impressed with any of this, and I know they had that leaked Dragon Age footage that also just didn't impress me either. So
I didn't watch that.
I know we talked about it for a little bit on the podcast, but
before this,
way before this, like that, like when they were like still very much mid development,
right?
So yeah, it's like I feel like I just feel like they don't know what they want to do with it, and I think they're trying to make it not too accessible. That makes it sound bad, but that might also be true, to be honest, because Dragon Age people really like Dragon Age, so I don't know if this is I don't even know if this will be for them now. I don't know.
Right. They might be. You were saying that they might be altering it to be a little bit too, like, appealing to a larger audience, which is then could potentially not click with a modern audience, and then also drive off the dedicated fans of Inquisition.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I don't know. I also don't know enough about I don't remember enough about the story to know.
Well, I know it's written by one of the guys who did one of the more beloved Dragon Age. Yeah. So the story might be people might like.
I'm just talking about in this trailer that it's like, oh my God, Solus is breaking the veil, and I'm just like, I've forgotten all of those proper nouns. Like the last Dragon Age game came out like what? 8 years ago, 10 years ago. Like, it's been a bit.
Like Dragon Age and Mass Effect haven't had a new one in a long time.
So I don't know. Maybe I see a little bit more, see what it looks like with a little slightly higher. I'd like to see what a higher level battle looks like.
Yeah.
Because this is all just like setup. And they do show there's kind of one point where I will say it does look good. Like the graphics I think are good. I really do like the way that it looks.
Yeah. It's got a great look.
So I don't know. Maybe when they show more, it'll click into place and I'll know what I want. But I don't know. Anyway, so we're gonna go to the other stuff, but I have two more things specifically that I wanted to call out that are exciting to me.
Yes.
One is that Night Dive is remastering the Thing video game. Amanda's favorite game of all time. We played it back in the old days. What a great! I like the fact that Night Dive keeps doing this. And putting out obscure games with, up-res graphics. And
I was surprised at this announcement, even though they teased it a while back in a very obvious tease. But the fact that they're doing that was surprising in general to me.
Yeah. So I'm really glad they're doing that. And then the other one, Michael, did you see this trailer? Because if you didn't, then I can't wait to show it to you for a game called Wolfhound.
I think so. I don't remember. I have to see it real quick.
It is World War II. It is pixel-based. It is side-scrolling. It is Contra. It is also Castlevania, because you play as a soldier that gets shot down in like the mountains near a Nazi fortress, and you got to shoot your way through. But also, there's like vampires and flesh golems and like monsters and shit.
Then I don't remember seeing this trailer.
It looks amazing. I love it. Like it's very Castlevania, and it's kind of like the blocks, right? Like, and it's got a lot of platforming. It's got like shooting to it, but it's also got little like powers and stuff. It's got a lot of Contra vibes with the weirdos, but then it's got strange stuff. Like there's a part of this trailer where it's like a bunch of Draculas with AK-47s shooting at the guy. Like,
this is a shooting Castlevania game, and that's really cool.
Yeah, there they are. This is a bunch of Draculas with fucking machine guns.
Oh my god, this looks great.
Little jetpack.
Holy
like,
shit! I can't wait to fucking play this.
Metroidvania stuff, maybe. Looks great. It looks fucking fantastic.
You know what's really funny? The text boxes kind of remind me of Metal Gear.
No, it's kind of got that font. It's that like the NES font, right? Like
that's so fucking exciting.
Yeah,
this looks great.
So. Okay, now it's a problem because I didn't open all of these, so let me see if I can hold down a button and open these. I got a spreadsheet and I'm going to use it. God damn it. Okay, open links. All right. That's a big chunk of YouTube videos.
Chunk, yeah.
So these are videos from a bunch of different shows. Some of these are from the PC Gaming Show. Actually, everything that I'm looking at is from the PC Gaming Show. If we get too far, we've got about 20 minutes left, so we're going to start going way fast.
That's fine.
And at the end, I might just start talking about, like, just calling out stuff that I think people should look at. So, our first trailer from PC Game Show that was good was Among the Wild, or I don't know. This is weird for me. This is like a farming sim, but first person, and the little animals look completely deranged.
Yes,
like
they all look insane. Also, the mouth placement for the little Yeti looking things.
Yep,
it's so weird to me.
It's very weird. It's very strange. They're all like weird balls, and I don't know. There's something exciting about it, especially like I don't see that many farming from a first-person perspective games.
No, yeah, and the little duck people is just like
they're great.
They look psychotic. I love them.
They look like Psyducks, but worse.
Yes,
they're like Viva Pinata brand Psyducks.
There's a lot of fun stuff going on in it.
Yeah, I like that one quite a bit. Let's see. Starbird is this is from that Kurz what do you know how to say this?
No, I'm not even attempted.
Okay. Kurzgesagt. Do you know Dorf Romantic was that game where you put down hexes, right? It was like a puzzle game where you were making a world by putting down little hexes and you turn them around and stuff. Kurzgesagt is a YouTube channel that does explainer videos with this very specific style that's very bright primary colors, and they've teamed up to basically make this kind of you can see the style. This style, have you ever seen this style?
No, I've seen that style.
Music video or YouTube videos. They're making this kind of like strategy game, so they've joined up to have their art style and then the Dorf Romantic, and it's kind of like a little management game where you're building up resources on little planets and you're putting stuff together, and it seems like a great little match made in heaven, right?
It's a fun little idea.
Yeah, and they've got a lot of their animation styles, so I'm sure the people that are fans of that will be super into it. Let's see. Lornvale. This is a weird game.
This is a really strange one.
Where you like wake up naked in the desert, and then you like it's one of those games where it's like a kind of a pixel-based top-down action game, but it seems like it's got really big RPG vibes to it.
Yeah, it's like a survival type game that adds some Mad Maxy type setting. Yeah, that's just kind of interesting because of it.
Where you can do all kinds of different stuff. Like it seems like one of those games where it's like really open-ended and you can do all kinds of different stuff. So I don't know. It's also brutally violent, and I appreciate that.
Yes.
Ale Abbey is a management sim about making ale for monks and building up an entire abbey to support like the ale making. It's kind of an interesting idea.
They're addicted to ale.
It's got a pretty cute art style too. Yeah. So. Streets of Rogue 2 is amazing, and I love Streets of Rogue so much, and everything I'm seeing in this trailer makes it look even better than the first game. It's got a kind of a glow up. It's got multiplayer. It's got some building mechanics.
It's very exciting.
Got all kinds of crazy shit. I love. Have you ever actually played Streets of Rogue?
No, I remember watching you play it, and I was like, this is great.
It was. I went back to go check it out, and like it's still rules just as hard as it used to, and I'm so glad that they are doing even more. Oh yeah, I love this one where there's like a dance party and he puts like growth formula in the filtration system, which makes everybody grow really big. I don't know. I'm a huge fan of Streets of Rogue. It's coming out August 14th. Wander Stars.
This is pretty cool looking.
Yeah, it's like a battling kind of RPG game, but you use words, use combinations of words to like charge up your attacks and stuff.
Well, because it's like it's a play on the fact that like a lot of animes, especially around this time frame that it's basing it off of, had like really long, weird anime attack names,
right?
Where you're like the Super Ultra Dragon Fist or whatever.
Yeah,
and so that's what you're doing is you're making like these move names with that weird way of making long like ultra fighting kicks, like times 5 or something. Like, and I think that's really cool. And it's trying to be that like 90s, 80s, like late 80s anime, kind of like the way Dragon Ball was, like that sort of look.
It's also got, it's not exactly like an SD style, but it is more like Dragon Ball. Like it reminds me a lot of the kind of goofy proportions that you get in some of the Dragon Ball
specifically
stuff.
For her. And then there's some of the other characters look closer to like almost Fist of the North Star, almost looking looks like everybody has a very specific. Like it's clear that these people really like anime.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see from there. This one was okay. This is Southfield, which is like a farming sim, but you play as a kind of a Jello wobble dude. And so it's a little bit more of that kind of like crazy physics.
Yeah, there's just a lot of weird stuff you can do. Like you can automate your stuff, and I don't know, it's interesting looking.
Yeah. It's got an interesting style. I tried to mostly put stuff on this list that stood out to me for one reason or another, and this one was just kind of like goofy looking. So. We got the release date for Fallen Aces.
I'm so fucking excited for this one, though. It looks so fucking great.
This is a kind of boomer shooter first person thing where it's from New Blood, the people that made like Dusk, and it's like a first person hard boiled detective. It looks like what we all wanted out of Kingpin, but didn't get out of Kingpin.
Exactly. It looks great, and I'm so excited to play it.
The only bummer to this is that they did talk about the release date, and the release date is it's very soon. It is June 14th, but it's like episode 1 drops June 14th.
I'm so bummed that it was an episodic thing.
I didn't know.
It's like, fuck.
Hopefully this game's been in development for so long. Hopefully now that they've got it rolling, it's not going to be like 2 years until episode 2 comes out.
I hope so.
So, but yeah, that's great. If you've not seen Fallen Aces, I recommend taking a look.
It looks great. I'm very excited.
Mars Tactics is kind of interesting. This is like you're building bases, and then you're doing like kind of turn-based strategy to overthrow like the corpos on Mars, and it's kind of got an interesting look to it where there's like a lot of like base management stuff, but it reminds me a lot of the original XCOM, not the Firaxis XCOM, but like the Microprose XCOM.
I can see that.
But yeah, it's pretty good looking. It looks like it could be fun.
Yeah.
We talked about Sumerian 6 already, so we can skip that. Let's see. All Systems Dance is the next, speaking of anti-corporate, the next game from, this is the people that made the Big Con. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Like 90s adventure game.
I forgot about that.
This is like a dystopian future where everybody's under the thumb of like robotic overlords, but the robots can't identify you and they don't know what to do if you dance.
Yeah.
So apparently dancing is like your big weapon in the future, and you play as like these revolutionaries trying to get out from under the thumb of big robot by...
It's got a great fucking tagline, by the way.
Dancing their asses off. Yeah, the revolution will not be choreographed.
It's such a great fucking tagline.
Yeah. So,
I like the way it looks a lot.
Very nice art style. Let's see. Fumes. We got a trailer for Fumes. This got I don't remember why. So there was some reason why this game got kind of forwarded front and center a little while back. Where
I can't remember.
There's like another driving game that I think people didn't like, but this is a very kind of like driving, like car-based combat, kind of this low-res, chunky pixel style. There's already a demo for this out. But everybody that's played it has said that it looks really like it plays really well.
I love how customizable everything is.
Yeah,
and I did laugh at the not max.
The license plate. Yeah.
I really like the way it looks a lot. It kind of reminds me of Vigilante 8 in some ways. I think that was the name of that game.
Or like Interstate 76.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. There's also weird shit going on. Like there's a boat.
Yeah.
Like a full cargo ship with tires on the bottom.
I was like, that's fucking crazy.
So, yeah. It was pretty cool. Let's see. From there, we got Phantom Line. Now, see, this is another one of these like 1v4 or 1 to 4 player co-op games, but it's got this thing. Okay, so they're just like this squad that's kind of going through. There's like this big area that's full of like weird kind of paramilitary stuff, and they're shooting. But then at one point they find like a door. And then the guy goes through this portal, and then the guy goes through this portal, and he's like in like the Red Room from Twin Peaks or something, and like there's all kinds of weird horror shit that's going on. I'm
it's
just like
a survival squad thing too, if I remember. So
yeah,
like each squad like just has to be the last one surviving or something like that.
So I don't know. I'm interested in the idea. Like I like horror games a lot, and so maybe the sauce is that if you put your 4-player co-op game inside of a weird horror universe, then like. Yes, I'm more interested.
I think that's what this game was, if I remember correctly. Because I did watch this one. I just can't remember the specifics.
Yeah.
But it sounds really cool.
Let's see. We have Tempopo.
Yes.
This was a musical game where this is from the people that made Unpacking. And it's very different than Unpacking.
Well, it reminded me of Captain Toad.
I can see that a little bit.
When they first showed it off, it's like this is that sort of small island area that you just explore.
So this lady Tempopo, all of her singing plants have been like scattered to the winds, and you're sending out these like they're like these bots or these little like radish guys to rescue the plants. And it's like it looks like you're setting them up like they move on the beat, and you're like trying to set up a series of events that will make them go through these. Like you're trying to automate the solution to the puzzle.
It's really interesting.
Yeah. It's also a pretty catchy song.
Yeah, it's very catchy.
By the time you see this, we'll have a video up for I Am Your Beast. I don't know if you remember the trailer was the come out Harding, you big bitch.
Yeah.
And then like, okay. And then just, This is from, for those who haven't watched the video, this is from the guy that made El Paso Elsewhere, as well as a couple of other games. Xavier Nelson. I need to figure out how to say that first name.
Yeah.
This is a very like first person, fast-paced speedrun-esque FPS. Small levels, discrete objectives, and you're trying to get through them as fast as you can by like throwing guns at people and using your environment and just chaining kills together in a very fast way.
It's a speedrunner's dream.
Yep. It's also I really like the way the story is set up. So
yeah, the story is. I was already very invested when we did the page or the video for this.
Yep. Let's see. Citizen Sleeper 2 got a trailer at the PC Gaming Show. This showed more. Like we just found we actually saw the gameplay.
Yeah,
looks an awful lot like Citizen Sleeper 1, except it seems like there's going to be multiple areas. Like Citizen Sleeper 1 all took place on one station, whereas it appears there might be like multiple stations that you're going between in this one. Other than that, it looks an awful lot like Citizen Sleeper. So,
yeah.
Did you ever play Citizen Sleeper?
No.
Yeah,
I remember watching people play it, but I wasn't that interested in it.
I'm interested when somebody described the story, but I don't know if I actually want to play the game.
That is the thing about the games like that, yeah.
I do want to play Demon School. We're at the release date for Demon School. This is a throwback to, I believe, to OG Persona games.
Yes.
Where it's like a strategy game where you're kind of an isometric top-down, kind of like old PS1 things. And it's about a bunch of teenagers that are in a demon school that go out and fight demons. But then I think there's also like a dating and relationship thing. So
yeah, this is basically kind of how Persona 1 and 2 kind of were.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly. Because I only know like 2 people who've ever actually played those games.
Yeah. September 13th is when that's coming out. I don't know what Space Station 14 is, Michael. I don't know if you saw this trailer.
I talked to a friend about this.
Oh, really?
So he was telling me that this is Space Station 13 is already a thing.
Okay.
And it's just a series of like people made this weird ass game out of a series of random shit.
Okay.
And that's what that Space Station 13 was. And so he was surprised that Space Station 14 was shown here because he knew more about it than I did. He tried explaining it to me, but it sounded so batshit insane. I had no fucking idea what he was talking about.
Okay,
but it is apparently already something that is.
So it's a sequel to something.
It's a sequel to something that like a bunch of community people made.
Okay,
and I guess they all like banded together to make like an actual sequel version.
That makes a little bit more sense because this trailer then is just like this is like a cinematic trailer.
Yeah,
but the actual game is like top down with pixels doing very basic things, but in a way where you can do stuff together.
He explained to me what you were doing, and I life of me, I don't remember what he told me, but I remember it sounding batshit insane.
Okay,
at the time.
Well, I didn't realize
Space Station 13 apparently is already a thing.
I didn't realize this, but like in Space Station 14, it says open source now and forever. So apparently, it's like a big kind of open source type.
So it's like a sequel to something that they already did, kind of thing. Is what he told me at least.
Yeah,
it sounded crazy.
Let's see. This is Unbeatable.
Yeah. I really like this trailer a lot.
Yes, it was very musical. I like the musical trailers quite a bit.
Like music is illegal or something like that.
And it's this lady playing music, and it's got a really catchy song. This is kind of some 90s throwback stuff, talking about kind of beating up cops and stuff. The actual game reminds me, there was another game that was like this, that was a rhythm game a long time ago, but I don't remember what it is.
I don't remember either, but I remember being like, this is really cool.
Yeah, but the style on this one is great. It looks very cool, and I like the song quite a bit. So and then before we get into like Ultra Lightning Round, we got Crescent County. This is about this is so weird. It's like a witch teenager that moves out to the countryside and then gets really into broom drag racing.
Yes.
And does like deliveries and stuff during the day. And then at night is like joyriding on their broom, because brooms are basically motorcycles.
Yeah.
It looks pretty cool. I think that I saw a few trailers that looked a little blurry, making me wonder if they're using like DLSS too hard, or whether that's just like the style. But yeah, this one looked like a very indie cozy, lesbian witches drag racing in the countryside.
I actually really want to play this. It's like it has such an interesting premise.
Yeah,
of just like a person trying to find their way. And I just love, I love that one of the jobs is like, just throw this in a pond, any pond.
Yeah.
And then it's like, job complete. Here's $15.
And then she throws it in like a shallow puddle.
Yeah.
It's just like, job complete.
It's really cool. And and there's some like choices that can be made of different stuff for friendships and maybe even for dating.
Yep.
And I think that's kind of fun.
Yep. That looks pretty good. Let's see. We only got about 5 minutes left. I think that was most of, oh no, I didn't even finish the PC gaming show. Tactical Breach Wizards, we already have a video out for that.
Looks
you should
great.
go check it out. Hotel Galactic had big like Studio Ghibli vibes.
Oh, that thing was gorgeous.
It looks really great. It's like a hotel management thing, but it looks beautiful. Let's see. I don't remember every one of these because I was going to open them up. Oh, I can do this in Excel or in Google Sheets. Oh, Streets of Fortuna was another game that was like announced alongside Caves of Kood and Dwarf Fortress as like a kind of a life sim where you can do a lot of different things. This fucker's put Rise of the Golden Idol almost at the very end of the show, even though Rise of the Golden Idol has a demo out.
Yeah.
It looks great. I can't wait to play more Rise of the Golden Idol.
That was the game that I'm like, Jeff's probably really happy right now.
Yeah. Let's see. These were okay. This one was okay.
Gunboat God I thought looked really cool.
Gunboat God and Airframe Ultra were both these kind of like side-scrolling. Oh no, wait, that was a different game.
Yeah, that was a different one.
Gunboat God. It looks like World of Goo and Luftrausers had a baby.
It looks really fun. Actually, it looks really cool.
Where you're kind of going into this like opaque goop. And I don't know how much. Let me just see if there's anything that I remember that stands out here. see what simpler. Nah, Battle Vision Network. No. UFO 50 looked kind of interesting. I don't know if you saw that one. That was at Day of the Devs.
I think
where it was
so.
like these guys that are making it's like it's not a mini game collection. It's like 50 individual like video games that all have different. Like, they have like throughputs and stories on like a fictitious console, but they're not indie. They're not mini games like WarioWare. Each one of them is a full on video game.
No, I think I do remember this because it reminded us of that other. There's another game where it did something similar like that. I can't remember
I want to talk about more of these. Tom the Post Girl looked interesting. I don't know if you saw that from Day of the Devs, where it's this little like Red Riding Hood girl that's going around delivering stuff, but she keeps peeking in people's houses, and what she sees in people's houses are like horrifying things. Like
that's really fun.
So it's got a kind of a like macabre sense of humor. Of like voyeuristically looking in places and seeing all kinds of crazy shit, which looks pretty fun. While waiting is an idea that I like, where it's all about doing stuff while you're waiting for other stuff to happen. So it's all about little mini games that you do while you're waiting in line or waiting for the bus or doing other stuff. And it's like, oh, okay, that's kind of an interesting idea. So Phoenix Springs, is this the one? This might be the other one that I thought was really interesting from a noir perspective. Did you remember this? Did you see this?
No, I didn't.
It's an adventure game where you play as this woman. It's got this very striking kind of neo-noir, hard black and then solid color art style where you're going this kind of semi-futuristic city and then poking around trying to figure out like what happened to your brother.
Her animations are gorgeous.
And you're building this big kind of word cloud that you can use for stuff, and then it's got a lot of like hand animated stuff as well as kind of 3D areas. So,
that's really cool.
Yep. Tides of Tomorrow, that's from the Road 96 people. There's going to be DLC for Dredge called Dredge the Iron Rig.
Ooh, fun.
There's DLC for Goat Simulator called Goat Simulator Multiverse of Nonsense, where you're going to like a Fortnite / Disney area that's full of like weirdos and craziness. And at the end, there is a literal infinity gauntlet that happens to be a hat for a giant capybara.
Oh my god!
And I want to play it.
Holy shit, that's so fun!
It looks great, and I can't wait to play it. June 19th. Deliver Us Home got a teaser.
Oh yeah, because they finally got funding or something.
No, they're starting a Kickstarter for it. So, was this one? Oh, Michael, this one was for you. Nico Dierko. Everybody's talking about this. Nico Dierko is a new indie game that is basically Crash Bandicoot meets Donkey Kong Country.
Oh, that's fun.
It's got some really nice looking characters that look like they're right out of like Crash Bandicoot, and then it's like a side scroller that has a very Crash Bandicoot /
this looks great.
Donkey Kong Country vibe to it, right? You can like there's you can ride animals like you can in Donkey Kong Country. It's very like, I looked at this and I was like, I bet Michael would really like this game.
Yeah, this looks fantastic. I can't wait to fucking play this.
So yeah, the other problem is that name is a little weird, but
it's a very strange name. Yeah.
And let's see, try this On Your Tail. What was that one? Oh right, we've already heard about that one. Woodo, Nova Cats, Slay the Princess is getting a big thing. A big expansion, and it's going to consoles. Prisma. You know what? We'll just end it on something that we saw last year and they showed more of at the Latin American Game Showcase. Mariachi Legends. This game looks fucking so cool.
It looks amazing.
I forgot that they showed this. They announced this last year, and it's like a 2D side-scrolling game where you play as a mariachi, and then you are fucking. It's also like you put on like Dia de los Muertos. You turn into like a Dia de los Muertos Zorro, and then just brutally fucking kick the shit out of people. And I'm like, yes, please.
Yeah, I forgot how I found out about this. I think it was like a Kickstarter or something for it. I think Matt shared it or something. And I was like, this looks like everything I've ever wanted.
Yep. A Mariachi Zorro Metroidvania. Like, it's got a great soundtrack. It's got a great art style. Everything looks great on it. So, and that is the end. If you can join up to patreon.com/RageSelect, I put in our Discord, I put my Google Doc that has every single trailer. We didn't put every single game in here, but I think we got through a hell of a lot for what was here in 3 hours. So, Michael, tell them where they can find you when you're not over here doing the marathon fucking podcast with me.
You find me on oneofus.net. We do a lot of movie, television reviews. My latest review should be for Inside Out 2 at this point.
Okay. I thought we were going to say more.
I don't have anything else. Yeah.
All right.
That's all I got.
Well, that's it. Go watch the videos. Go enjoy. And, yeah. Get out of my house. I gotta go to sleep.